Good morning. Welcome on in on this Wednesday, February 4th. Thanks for joining DJ and PK. I'm PK. Wow, what a day yesterday, right? Woo, a lot of things going on with the Jazz. A big trade. Is it a franchise-altering trade? Well, we obviously will be getting to that throughout the morning. BYU's back in action tonight. Basketball, probably a must-win when you think about it. Let's not forget hockey. The Mammoth are back on the ice tonight. Detroit Red Wings now, after tonight, they are off literally for 3 weeks because we've got the Olympics and Olympic hockey and the NHL sending their players to the Olympics. The Mammoth will be represented by 4 players, 4 different countries. Clayton Keller, obviously with the USA. Go USA, right? Well, they won the other night after a couple of losses. It's been an interesting season. We're going to talk to Mike Folta, the radio voice of the Mammoth, after they won their game on, what was that, Monday night? Yeah, it was Monday night, so stay with us right here. We're going to listen to Mike Folta.
Schmaltzy's got it out for you, Mike. That's what I took out of that. He had you yelling all night long. You could lose your voice. He's dangerous.
Oh, guys, good morning. I'm coming to you a little hoarse this morning.
I thought so.
All puffy. Just woke up. Looked like I got run over by PK's personalized custom golf cart. But hey, all is well that ends well. It was a big win for the Mammoth last night against a Vancouver team. It's last place in the NHL, but you win 6-2. You do what on paper you're supposed to do, and that's take care of business at home. And Nick Schmaltz with his second hat trick of the year. It's crazy. Last year, he went the first 23 games of the season without scoring a goal, and he still finished with 20 goals. This year, he got off to a great start. He's playing the best hockey of his career, now 10 years into his NHL career, and he's 1 goal away from a career high still with 25 games left in the regular season, and he has elevated this team with his play. In a contract year, no less.
Of course, Mike. That's the key. That's my question to you. Don't we see this throughout sports? Guys are free agents, and they end up with their best year. We used to have Joe Ingles on every week for 8 years. He gets his contract year. All of a sudden, he's shooting 45% from 3. And I tried to tell him, well, yeah, because you got money. Oh, no. Come on, man. This is an old story, isn't it?
I guess. But, hey, it's easy to say that and I just expect a guy to be great, but the fact of the matter is Utah has needed Nick Schmaltz to play like this because the team has been without Logan Cooley, who's your most dynamic centerman, and there have been times when some of the scoring around Schmaltz has dried up a little bit, but he's been consistent. He's been excellent defensively. Like I'm talking about his offensive numbers. He's been excellent in the defensive zone. We have discussed on this show about how Schmaltz has moved over from wing to center, how that's a lot more defensive responsibility. It's what's a good comparison? Maybe football's not the best comparison, but it's like moving from slot receiver to like that true X receiver, right? Like now all of a sudden you're the true number 1. Well, now a center has a lot more responsibility on both ends of the ice. It's a harder position to play. And Schmaltz has stepped into that role, and his numbers have been even better in that role. And he's really helped out Clayton Keller and the guys around him. So got to give him a ton of credit. And Utah's needed him to step up in the way that he has. Hat trick last night. He's got 2 on the year. Guys, I had some friends at the game last night. They have now been to 2 games this year. Nick Schmaltz has had a hat trick in both of them. How about that?
Well, nice. You better get him some more tickets.
better get him a Nick Schmaltz jersey.
Right.
Signed. When you look at this team as far as Schmaltz doing what he's doing, and that's great, the other night, and I realized it was in a losing effort, but how about Yamamoto? Seems like he's coming on a bit.
Oh my gosh, yeah. He had 5 goals over the last 5 games, 2 goals in back-to-back games. He's the smallest guy on the ice, but he wins every battle. Like he plays with incredible skill and incredible hockey IQ. And he was a really high draft pick a few years ago back in Edmonton. He spent multiple years in Edmonton, didn't really pan out with the Oilers. even though he got to play with guys like Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, some of the top end players in the world, he never stuck long term. Guys, last year Yamamoto basically had to fight his way into a contract.
Right.
He played really well in the preseason a year ago, and he didn't have a contract until basically the start of the year. And because he played well in the preseason, the Utah management staff was like, all right, yeah, you can be a depth piece for us. He played in 12 games all of last year, had 2 goals in 12 games, was mostly in the AHL, played in the minor leagues for the first time in 5 or 6 years for him. So it was, I think if you'd ask him, a bit of a reset for him last year, maybe a little humbling. But it helped get his confidence back a little bit because he was playing a big role in the minor leagues. Well, coming this year, he now all of a sudden has 9 goals, and he's still been in and out of the lineup a little bit, but he's playing way more consistently. And he's played and produced to a point where he's forcing Andre Tourigny to keep him in the lineup because he can play with those high-end guys. You can just plug him in with guys like Keller and Schmaltz, like Utah did in the last road trip after Krause was out due to illness. He can play with J.J. Peterka and Barrett Hayton like he has the last couple nights. He finds the soft pockets of the ice. He gets himself open. And like I said, even though he's the smallest guy on the ice, he wins a ton of battles. And a great run for him, even though the Mammoth lost both games where he had 2 goals. His production has kind of helped keep Utah afloat offensively in times where maybe the top guys aren't scoring.
And don't forget, go ahead, finish your thought.
No, that's it. Go ahead.
This town is used to great play from guys from Spokane, Washington.
Oh, no. Is it Stockton?
Yes,
Yep.
it is.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
You can't say Spokane to a sports fan here. Yeah, without thinking Stockton. It's automatic. We all know it. Baked into us.
That's a good call. Yeah, Spokane's own. Yep, he played in the WHL. Played a little bit in Idaho as a kid too. So we can basically claim him, right, as like a guy from the Western U.S. We don't have a ton of those in the NHL.
That's Spokane to Salt Lake pipeline.
That's right. Keep it rolling, baby. Open that valve. No, but Yamamoto's been great. He's a humble guy and easy guy to root for and a fun guy to watch.
I am built so that I can scoreboard watch and look at the standings by the time we're a quarter of the way into the season. And even in the first quarter, I find a way to do it. It drives PK nuts. At what point do NHL coaches and players start scoreboard watching? Because there's 6 teams separated by 4 points, and 3 of them aren't going to the playoffs, and 3 of them will get in. So at what point, because they can drive themselves crazy too. You can waste a lot of energy on that kind of stuff. Leave it to somebody like me. I don't have to go out there and skate.
Yeah, it's funny. Like there's all these different deadlines on the NHL schedule where we have these statistics. The first one that I think of is Thanksgiving, where there's kind of this rule, like I think it's 70% of the teams that are in playoff positions by American Thanksgiving are going to be in the playoffs at the end of the season. And so that's like not even a quarter of the way into the year, right? And we're talking about like, oh, well, we better be in a playoff spot by Thanksgiving. And then Christmas rolls around and there's another statistic. And then, here comes Valentine's Day and the Olympic break and it's another statistic. So honestly, I think everybody's watching all year, guys. Like they'll tell you that they're not worried about the standings, but I think everybody watches the standings and looks at the leaderboards every single night. And, I've been a part of teams and even a part of this team where, maybe you lose a bad game late or you lose in overtime. But it's a crushing loss in October. And you're sitting there thinking like, maybe that's the point. Maybe that's the point that keeps us from getting in the playoffs. And like someone is saying that, inevitably, someone is saying that. So they'll tell you they don't watch every night, but I call bull on that. I think everybody watches every night. And honestly, guys, like you've had to this year because seriously, like it sounds cliche. Oh, the standings, it's a tight race. It is an unbelievably tight race. The Mammoth just had their best calendar month ever in January with 10 wins, and they still are in a dogfight for a wild card spot. And so There's some separation in the division where the top 3 teams are pretty much set in the Central Division. In the Mammoth, they're that 4th team that there's a pretty big chasm between where Utah is and where the next 3 are. But fighting for that wild card spot, it's like a 5 or 6 team race where everybody is winning in that group, and it's going to come down to the wire. Even though Utah is playing well, you can't rest for 1 second because LA and Seattle and even San Jose now, they were one of the worst teams in the league. Now they're fighting for a wild card. They're right there. So it's imperative the Mammoth keep winning.
We know in the NBA All-Star break that guys like to go where it's warm, and they get about a week to do what they want and get back into town. Well, here with this huge break, I would imagine some of them would have a form of vacation, but you can't vacation for 3 weeks. Do you know what their plan is?
Watch me.
You can, but I'm talking about them.
A lot of guys will get away. Yeah, a lot of guys will get away for at least a week. Utah has some injuries, some guys that have been banged up. Logan Cooley is a big one. Alexander Kerfoot, he's been hurt recently as well. Those guys will be trying to come back during the break. And so like the trainers and the staff, like they get a little bit of break too, but it's only about a week, and then they got to, come back and get guys back up and running, because you want to hit the ground running when you come back from break, right?
To, man.
Well, exactly. We're just talking about the standings. You have to. The Mammoth have some really tough games against Colorado and Minnesota coming up after the break. So it'll be about a week for these guys. It's a 3-week Olympic break. I think I'll be. I'll take about a 3.5 week break for me.
You're gonna come back with heavy legs. Clayton Keller can't. He's gonna be at the Olympics.
Just come back. I worry about Mike having free time, the ability to actually come back. I'm more concerned about him returning, literally.
Everybody knows UC Santa Barbara's a party school, but Purdue's underrated from what I've heard.
Oh, yeah.
I'm worried about you.
Well, when the freshman orientation is, guys, it's when you're at Purdue, but the whole behavior is Purdon't.
Hey. We had a big win against an 8-12 Maryland team on Sunday, so we're on the climb back. I mean, with Purdue, God, like Indiana winning a national championship, Purdue loses to Indiana in basketball a week later. Like, I have nothing, right? I have nothing as far as my collegiate fandom. I'm living vicariously through Utah State, my Aggies.
There you go.
But they lost a couple games too. So.
They did. But then bounce back. Big game against New Mexico coming up.
Oh, yeah. The Pit's legendary. It'll be crazy. There's a guy. What is he? The swamp rat or the sewer rat? What's that?
Sewer rat.
The sewer rat. Yeah. There's a fan there. You gotta see him to believe him. And Steve Cleveland, the BYU story, actually ended up befriending the guy. It's a heck of a story. Have you ever have a chance to watch
some raw meat?
Yeah, if you have a chance to watch Utah
State. Is this New Mexico at the Pit?
It's a New Mexico fan. Yeah. Snake is another nickname for the guy. He's all tatted up. He'll be there in a tank top. He's a short dude, and he screams his head off. Screams his head off during games. Just goes nuts. Everybody knows.
I'm gonna keep my Utah State fandom to the spec, probably. So I don't think I'm going on any Aggie road games.
You did have a nice little Sandlot reference when Schmaltz. You're killing me, Schmaltz, which is obviously Smalls. You are somewhat new to the area. You do realize that Sandlot was filmed in our area, right?
I was told this. That was not on my mind as I called the goal, but I was told this. Where was it filmed?
There's a diamond in Rose Park.
Yeah.
There were a couple scenic.
My home golf course.
Right. There were a couple scenic cutaways
down by Murray.
Where there's one that was taken from like the east bench looking west, and you can see the smokestack at the end of the Okers at Kennecott. I mean, it's totally obvious. If you watch the movie and wait for the smokestack, you will 100% see it. Yeah, it was like, well, obviously they're in Utah. Yeah, the Murray Pool was used. Yeah. There were multiple locations. If you go online, you can see all those things are online now if you want to find out where stuff was shot. Just type in locations for whatever movie.
Sandlot is on an extremely short list of movies that it is acceptable to watch on the 4th of July. I don't think you should be watching movies on the 4th of July, but if for some reason you are in front of a TV screen on the 4th of July, it's Sandlot, Independence Day, and that might be it. I'm not sure what else.
Well, always, of course, you're realizing that every day of the year, multiple times, you can watch Godfather 1 and Godfather 2 because that's the ultimate family movie.
Well, that's always on Thanksgiving. That always
should always be on.
It's always on
just
Thanksgiving.
Just always on.
Which one's the bad one? Which one's the one you're
the
not
third one. The third one
now.
The third one doesn't measure up to the first
it's
two.
1 and 2.
Yeah, one and 2 are Oscar winners. I mean, they're classics. So, I got to ask you about the Olympics here because there's all this noise about, well, is the rink going to be done in Milan? And then it's like, well, we're only going to send the NHL players, and the Mammoth sending 4, right, for 4 different countries. If the ice quality is up to a certain standard, and I'm thinking, there's a lot of money on the line. They've stopped the schedule one way or another. How can they not make ice? I mean, this is going to happen, isn't it? This is all just drama leading up to it.
It is. We're going to play the games, and it's going to be awesome. And we're going to watch Team USA, play Canada, Sweden, like all these teams, and we're going to love every second of it. And the players are going to make it incredible, right? Like we had the outdoor game in Tampa a couple days ago where the Lightning came all the way back to win 6-5 in overtime. And the goalies fought, and the players had awesome costumes upon their entrance to the stadium. Like that event was awesome because the players made it awesome, regardless of all the extra stuff on the outside. The Olympics coming up in Milan, there's been a lot of noise about the arena not being finished. And from what it sounds like, it's not going to be finished by the time we play. And when I say that, I mean, it's not going to be to the standard that we were hoping and expecting. And, when we go around the league to different teams, there's a certain standard that NHL players are used to. When you walk into the locker room, the type of access you have throughout the arena and things like that. It sounds like that's not going to be up to an NHL standard in Milan. Again, I'm not there on the ground. This is just what I'm hearing from people who are there. But they have the important stuff is going to get done. The important stuff either is done or is going to get done. And that's the ice surface itself and, the boards, like the hockey infrastructure. Most of the seats are done. It sounds like they had to bring in some kind of temporary seats as well. I was talking with Sam Farnsworth over at Channel 2.
Channel 5.
Channel 5, excuse me. Yes, thank you. And he was telling me, he was filling me in a little bit on the backstory. He's got boots on the ground in Milan.
Yeah.
But the important stuff is done. The players are going to make it awesome. But I wouldn't be surprised if you keep seeing pictures and videos over the next couple of days of incomplete sections of that hockey arena in Milan, which is really unfortunate because we all know they only had, a couple years to get this done.
Dope it out for us as far as who you think are the favorites. Obviously, with the NHL players playing for the first time in 12 years, you should have a pretty good idea of the rosters.
Yeah, I mean, we know that the U.S. and Canada are going to be really good. No Russia in the Olympics. I think we know that. There's so many good Russian players. You think of Mikhail Sergachev for the Mammoth. So there's a little bit of an asterisk next to this, next to any best on best tournament when you don't have Russia involved. But U.S. Canada are going to be up there. Sweden has an unbelievable team. Sweden is going to be legit. Finland always overachieves in these tournaments. Last time we played best on best Olympics, Olli Mata was part of Team Finland, and they beat Patrick Kane and the Americans like 5-1 to win a bronze medal. And the U.S. got 4th that year. So Finland always overachieves. They'll be very good. Team Czechia will have Karel Vejmelka. We know Veggie's ability to steal a game as a goaltender. They'll be a very tough out as well. Those are kind of the 4 teams. Those were the 4 teams we had they weren't the 4 teams. Czechia was not part of the 4 nations, but those are the 5 teams: U.S., Canada, Sweden, Finland, and Czechia that I think have the best chances to medal. U.S. going to have a really good team. Going to have a team that's really good on defense, really good goalie. Those are probably the advantages that the Americans have. Up front, Canada's better because you have guys like Crosby, McDavid, and McKinnon. So it's gonna be a great matchup when U.S. and Canada meet.
Mike, we'll leave it right there. One more game, and then you can put your feet up for 3 weeks.
Oh, who said I'm not already kicking back?
Well, you are, actually.
I'm my lazy boy here, just kind of getting used to it.
All right. Thanks, Mike. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
There you go. That was Mike Folta. Now, coming up, we have got to get to the Jazz. Oh, my gosh, we got to get to the Jazz, right? Yeah, no doubt about that. We're going to get to the Jazz, and we're going to have the Jazz recap. Stay with us. We'll get to that next on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Good morning. Welcome on in, DJ and PK. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday morning. What do you know? The Jazz. Whoo, what a day. Hey, will we look back and say this is the day that started it all? That would be yesterday. Well, we hope so. The Jazz with a huge trade, just gigantic. I don't know that you can get any bigger for what the Jazz could literally do. You know, fantasy-wise, maybe they can get bigger, but what they were able to pull off, getting Jaren Jackson and not giving up any starters by any stretch, giving up some role players, Walt Clayton and Taylor Hendricks would be the leading guys there. The 2 first-round draft choices, one from a couple years back and then one from last June, obviously, and then a couple of veterans in Anderson and Niang, and then also the draft picks, 3 draft picks. And who's coming our way? Well, that would be Jaren Jackson Jr., a 2-time All-Star, Defensive Player of the Year, to get in the lineup. I don't know how much he's going to be able to do right now. Hopefully not much, because the Jazz want to add that draft pick. I think there's a possibility of things changing. Certainly the thing that's changing the most is the tankathon. It's not over yet, obviously, but we've got, 31 more games to go, and then it'll be over. For sure it'll be over, and they will look to win next year. We'll get into that big time throughout the morning. That is for sure. The Jazz had the game last night, and they beat the Pacers 131 to 122. My gosh, the Pacers, I couldn't have told you one guy on their team. Yeah, man. It was a score fest. The Pacers scoring 50, shooting 54%. The Jazz 57%. Only had 7 players that they played, all 7 in double figures. How many times did you see that? And Isaiah Collier, 22 assists. Wow, only 2 turnovers. Yeah, that is a great line. Everybody had a fine night. It was a fine night for the Jazz. I bet you the guys who didn't get to play would have loved to play it because it was a stat-padding night. Everyone, literally every single player who played, all 7 of them, shot at least 50% from the field, except Collier. He was 6 of 16. Everybody else was doing their thing. Now, with the Collier addition like that, 22 assists, he was 6 of 16, 0 of 3 from 3. He's not a shooter. He is a passer, and he passed the ball very well last night against a lousy team. We talked about it during the week. I had no doubt in my mind that they were going to win because the Pacers, they are worse than a Jazz, and they're playing to lose as many games as they could possibly lose also. All right. As we do after every game, we let you get into the locker room, hear what the guys have to say on the Jazz postgame. We're going to do that right now.
It's your Jazz recap here on DJ and PK 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott with you. Big day for the Utah Jazz yesterday, making a trade. It becomes official. Jaren Jackson Jr. coming to the Utah Jazz in exchange for 3 first-round picks. Walter Clayton Jr., Taylor Hendricks, Kyle Anderson, and George Niang. Huge news. But the Jazz did play last night. They only played 7 players, but they came away with the win, 131-122 over the Pacers. Lauri Markkanen led the way with 27 points. Isaiah Collier played all 48 minutes, had 17 points and 22 assists, the highest assist number in the NBA so far this season. And the Jazz win. Let's get to the postgame sound and Jazz head coach Will Hardy.
All 7 players in double figures, 38 assists, only 10 turnovers. We scored 70 paint points. I thought the team really competed for all 48 minutes. Obviously, Isaiah, 22 assists with only 2 turnovers is a testament to him. It's a testament to his teammates. Obviously making shots, but Zay made a lot of great decisions for us tonight. This is games like this are odd. Playing with 7 people and the lineups that we had out there, but I thought the team had great energy, great camaraderie. Really proud of their effort tonight.
What made Isaiah's 22 assists so impressive, especially with the minutes that he played?
Yeah, I mean, Zay picked his spots. I mean, it wasn't all one thing. You have, his transition stuff has always been really high level. But then in the half court, some driving kick. He found Flip in the pocket a bunch. He hit Lowry in the pocket some. He read sprint slips very well and made those reads on time so that people could get shots off. I think he also did a great job of recognizing who was in a little bit of a rhythm. Like if Bryce hit one, he tried to find him again. Same with Svi. Overall, he showed a lot of poise and maturity as a point guard.
Playing 48 minutes, did that decision come before the game, and kind of does the health and performance staff worry about that at all? And did you have any excitement about playing in 48 minutes? Kind of worried about that?
Yeah, that was my decision, and I did not consult anybody about that decision. I think Zay. I really think any player is capable of doing it. You obviously wouldn't want to do that a bunch of nights in a row. But tonight, with the players that were available, it felt like a good opportunity for Zay to just roll. I sort of alerted Zay in the first half that was my plan after he had one sort of senseless foul. I just said, hey, man, if you keep doing that, we're going to ruin this part of the plan. But yeah, I mean, tonight's a night where all of us, myself, health and performance, everybody knows that a bunch of guys are going to be in spots that are unusual. Ace played 40 minutes, and that's not been his standard plan either. But tonight we had to do what we had to do to get through the game.
To piggyback off of Ace, too, he got to the line tonight probably more than this season and what he's been averaging. What does it take for a rookie to kind of get used to getting to the line or kind of adjusting to drawing fouls in the league?
Yeah, Ace is understanding the timing that it takes around the basket, and that in order to get the whistle, you have to play through the moment of collision. You can't get to the moment of collision and stop. Ace does a really good job of using his pivots. It's a real weapon for him. He drives, kind of little bump, pivot, and then he can shoot his little mini fadeaway because of his length and athleticism. But to get a whistle, you do have to play through the point of contact, and I think that Ace is doing a better job of that. I also think that he's doing a better job when he does go to shoot of recognizing that the rules in the NBA protect shooters, and you don't have to contort your body as much as you think. You have the advantage of the rules, and players can't hit you on the forearm. They can't walk into your space. They can't push you on the hip while you're shooting. I think his shooting discipline has continued to improve.
There's Jazz head coach Will Hardy. Let's now hear from Svi Mikhailuk.
How would you describe tonight's win against the Pacers?
It was great, especially for us to find our rhythm. We were sharing the ball pretty well. Everybody got open shots. Played hard, not selfish, so I feel like it was good for us.
And sharing the ball, Isaiah has 22 assists. What's it like there being out on the court with a guy like that who can assist like that?
It's great. I feel like he's a pass first point guard, so it's great to play with him. He always finds guys. He don't really care about scoring, which just gives us a lot of opportunities to find us on the three-point line on the cut, so it's been great.
And what does it say about how connected you guys are when you guys were able to get in the offense the way you were and to do things defensively, just with a completely different lineups tonight?
Yeah, I feel like especially when you have 7 guys playing, it's hard, but everybody know everybody's going to play a lot, so I feel like everybody was at ease and just play really hard and unselfish. Thank you.
That's Svi, 18 points last night on 7 of 9 shooting. Let's now move on and hear from Kyle Filipowski.
How would you describe tonight's win?
Amazing. I think just playing with only 7 guys tonight, and all 7 of us were in double figures, partially thanks to Zay for passing the ball as much as he did. I think it was a lot of fun, and it was a great win that we all should be proud of.
Yeah, you guys did look like you were having a lot of fun out there, a lot of smiles, just given the way you guys approached tonight's game. What is it like to have fun out on the court with your teammates, especially a young core that you guys have?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, just being able to play this game, every day, that's just a blessing in itself. But being able to do that and really make great bonds with your teammates and play great basketball, that just makes it even better.
And then what are you looking forward to as you guys continue this road trip? What things can you take away from tonight's game that you guys were able to do with just many different lineups?
Yeah, I think just communicating well, playing together. I think, when we do that, I think it's just going to be great basketball overall.
All right, there's Kyle Filipowski, 16 points, 16 rebounds for Flip in the win. The Jazz beat the Pacers 131-122.
All right, the Jazz with the big win. Now they continue their road trip. Still got a few more games before they come home, and then it's the All-Star break at the end of next week. And obviously it's going to be all about Jaren Jackson. It's got to be all about the Cougars, too. Can't forget them. They got a big game coming up, and we will get to that next. Stay with us. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. I love to say it, but I think I get to say it tonight without you yelling at me. What?
Sweet.
You have to yell at me and keep me in line. Big game tonight coming up, PK. I do that for the NFL. I do it for the NBA. I do it for the Mammoth. They've lost back-to-back games. Big game. They got to beat Vancouver.
I think that in college basketball conference-wise,
it gets easier to say.
Yeah, especially when you're in February.
And a team that has very high expectations, both internally and externally, and they lost 3 out of 4.
Yeah, I think it goes beyond internally and externally.
What's left? Midternally? This is make up new words. All right.
The Cougars tonight, obviously they are playing the Oklahoma State Cowboys, and we know they're coming in having lost 3 out of 4. Mm-hmm. They beat the Utes, and then they lost to the ranked teams, which is Tech, Arizona, and Kansas. And they have Houston Saturday. But with the fact that Kevin Young said this after Saturday's loss, it's a curse and a blessing in the Big 12. Hold on, because you'll have another huge game against a ranked team right around the corner, and that's exactly right. Well, with that being exactly right, I think now for the Cougars, because they're 0-3 against ranked teams in the conference, that's undisputable. And I don't think those 3 teams are going to fall out of the rankings.
No, who? Arizona, Kansas, Texas Tech? No, they're not going to.
Right.
No, I totally agree.
And with that in mind,
honestly, the only team in the rankings that might fall out of the rankings is BYU.
Right.
But I think it's more likely that they add a team than someone falls out. I really expect all the ranked teams to stay in there. And UCF, look out.
They're on the verge.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're on the verge.
They could be a 7th-ranked team.
The problem with losing to these games, losing to these teams, besides the fact that you lost to them, it puts an undue, maybe not an undue, maybe a justified amount of pressure on to beat the Oklahoma States of the world. I don't think if you look at the rest of their schedule, and teams like Colorado and Baylor's having a down season. You already mentioned UCF is a good team. West Virginia, Cincinnati. You must beat all those teams.
Mm-hmm.
So they, at worst, tonight is the halfway point for them. They play 18 conference games, and they're 5-3, right?
And they've got 4 ranked teams left and 6 unranked.
So they must go 10-0 against those unranked teams, or 6-0.
6-0,
yeah. 10-0 would be awesome. But 6-0, and then they've got to at least split.
Pick off a couple others somewhere in there.
Yes.
And 3 of those 4 are at home.
Yes.
So you would expect, that's not a big ask.
No, not for this team, for this payroll.
The road games at Arizona, that's going to be hard. It's not impossible.
Yeah, they got it last year. It was a wild, fun game.
Yeah.
It's not impossible. Arizona probably isn't going to go undefeated. They're going to maybe have a slip up.
You would expect. Happens to most teams. Maybe they'll have a couple.
Yeah.
You know, once you get one.
Well, we know they'll have one in March.
They have a brutal stretch here where they play 4 ranked teams in a row, and BYU's the 3rd team in that 4-game stretch. So if Arizona gets beat somewhere in there, that just isn't surprising. 2 of them are at home and 2 of them are on the road, and I just expect somebody is going to get Arizona. They're going to have a night they don't shoot it well. Somebody else will have a night where they're on fire.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more likely to be a road game than a home game, and BYU does have to go there.
And that's fine. Arizona can sustain a loss or 2, and it's not really going to matter.
No, they got 1 seed written all over them.
Yeah, and even if they drop to 2, who cares? It's how you play in March. But
they're a 1 and Houston's a 2 right now, you think?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in Kansas with Peterson probably is going to – if Peterson is available –
if he can play a lot,
they'll get a high
out.
seed.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter
they'll be
where they're ranked or whatever.
They'll be a 2 or 3.
Maybe even higher. I guess the only high you can go higher from 2 is 1.
I kind of feel like Michigan, UConn, and Arizona. I'd be surprised. There's still a lot of basketball. Somebody could lose 3 in a row.
But what I was saying, what I meant by a 2 is there's 4 2 seeds, and there's a difference between 8 and 4 and 5.
There can be.
Right.
Absolutely.
The brackets, Utah in the 90s got stuck with
when Kentucky was loaded.
Yeah.
When Kentucky was way better.
They were 2 seed, but
yeah.
they were the last 2 seed, and they played the number 1 seed. And there you go. I think that was Van Horn's senior year, if I remember. And so that matters within the seeding goes and what the bracket is. But that's the way it goes, and you have to win or else. But for the Cougars, it's just imperative that they have a game like they had against the Utes. They need a laugher. They need to relax. The pressure on these guys is just incredible, man. I can recall Steve Cleveland had gotten a tournament team, and then they come back the next year, and they were struggling mid-season, in mid-conference season. And I remember talking to him, man. He said, it's hard to breathe. Just the amount of pressure that they're facing to get into the tournament because you've established yourself as a tournament team.
Yep.
And now
sustain it.
Yeah.
Do it again.
And
Do it again.
For BYU, I don't think it's a question of sustaining a tournament team. It's having success. And it was last year, that's why it was so cool for them to do what they did, because they brought in a perceived number 1 pick in Dielman, and it wasn't going well. And so they needed something to change, and it did. And then they get to the Sweet 16 in its first year. Jaeger becomes a number 1 pick. So the selling points that they were able to do in the recruiting, come here, we'll go deep, I'll get you to the NBA. He did it. And college sports is a constant sales job. Recruiting is about selling. And so he then, Young and his people, were able to just say, well, we already proved it in 1 year. I proved it. And DeBonce is like, okay. And his dad, Ace DeBonce, okay.
Yep.
And now they're going to continue to do it. So they can't literally afford to slip up. They have got to get to the Sweet 16 and see what the matchups are. So the pressure on these guys is enormous. And if they come out on the wrong end of the score tonight, it's going to be amped up way, way, way more than last year.
Well, first off, to go back to the Steve Cleveland comparison, you look at how much everything has changed since then. You look at the investment, and not just the boosters who are writing the checks, but the price of all those seats has gone way up, and they're paying coaches way more. Obviously, they're paying players.
Well, they got more coaches.
And the number of times I've heard, you're right, they're paying more coaches, and they're paying the coaches who are sitting in the chairs already, coaches, and are getting more money. And then they got 10 people on staff beyond that, and probably more than that.
Yeah.
But 10 you can see during a game. And the pressure Steve talked about, now you multiply it times social media And all these donors who think they have a say, and to some degree do, they have to at least be heard, even if you're just letting them blow off steam.
Well, they're not just giving money for the sake of giving money.
Right. You're going to want them to give money again, so they have to feel heard, even if ultimately they're telling you to, run an inbounds play that's crazy and would never work. But you got to hear them. It's just more of everything. And that, when you're struggling to make shots, doesn't help anybody. Tons of pressure doesn't usually help shooters get untracked. And to your point about Oklahoma State, the way the schedule stacks up, it's 3 of 4 now. You want to go into the Houston game talking about losing 4 of 5? Because you could play very well against Houston and come out talking about losing 5 out of 6. And you just feel this snowball growing, what's wrong with. And that puts a national spotlight on you because you're on the Big 12, so nothing's going to happen quietly in the Big 12.
Not for BYU.
Nope.
For some teams maybe, but not for them.
That's your point about you got to get the Oklahoma State game and then see what you can do with Houston. It is at home. And then you got Baylor and Colorado before you go to Arizona. So you better take care of Baylor, Colorado, and Oklahoma State because that's just what you have to do just so you have a 500 stretch.
Yeah, they're road games the rest of the way at Oklahoma State, at Baylor, at Arizona, across the country at West Virginia and Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And that's a 2-game swing. I would assume that the end of this month
they'll just stay on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no reason to fly all the way back to go all the way back to Cincinnati.
So that's sort of funky right there.
It is.
That's unusual. They're not used to, on a Monday, practicing in somebody else's gym.
And you do all that West Virginia. UCF at home is hard. Winnable, but hard. And then West Virginia, Cincinnati road trip, so you can come back and play Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Pivoting an old line that I used on a boss of mine. You're the one who wanted to be in this league. This is what everybody signs up for in the Big 12. And as much as BYU fans can groan, I mean, think what TCU's feeling right now. That is not a bad TCU team, but they are 3-6. They're just getting beat up in this league. And I don't think they're awful.
They're losing games.
They are losing games.
Yeah.
3-6 doesn't feel very good.
Yeah, they let one slip away at Utah.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain teams in this conference, and you just look at the standings and figure out who they are, that you got to beat. Because if you don't, it's like, okay, well, if you don't beat that team, you're probably not going to beat. If you don't beat Oklahoma State, you're probably not going to beat Houston. So now you got 2 losses.
Right.
So
and you feel the same thing when you play Baylor and Cincinnati.
It just adds to the attention and pressure. And we'll see how these guys go. And then you got DeBonsa, who comes in with the most hype ever.
Yeah.
And has all sorts of fame and acclaim. And the way the world works now, they go hand in hand. Before he ever bounces a ball in college, and he gets outplayed to a good degree by Darren Peterson, and then against the Arizona team, he's 6 of 24. He didn't come here not to be a star. In the last couple games, the Kansas game wasn't bad, but every game, man, we're expecting 25, 30 out of him with 3 or 4 highlight dunks. Right?
Yeah.
And maybe a block or 2 and all that. And you go on the road in college, and he heard the overrated chant, which needs to be overpaid now. The amount of attention focused on a kid who just turned 19 last week. But that's the reality of the situation, man. In a sense, they've all asked for that, and that you want that because that means you're really good. And he is really good.
Privilege or pressure is a privilege. That is one you're going to hear over and over again. A lot of people are saying that, and I think we're just going to hear more of it. And the pressure that comes with all this money, it is a privilege. Now, let's not build up Oklahoma State too much. They are 15-6, but this is a program going through a rebuild here, and this is a program that scheduled a lot of W's. They have not been particularly great against Power 5 opponents. They're 3-5 in league. They were in a tight game with at Utah with about 5 or 6 minutes to go. Found a way to win, which is great because they went into that game losing 4 of the last 5. So it's not like they're flying right now. But they're also in a rebuild. They got lower expectations, and that can make a team dangerous. This is a very winnable game. It's the one BYU has to get. And I think the first thing is before you win a game, the goal has to be to win both halves, right? Win the first half. And this is trailing at halftime. I think given the fact they've lost 3 out of 4, That's a message that could resonate with these guys right now. Go out and take the lead early. Take it to them early. You're better. You've got more talent. Take it to them early at both ends of the floor.
I don't buy that, though.
Okay.
I don't buy the idea of we're going to make them quit. Because that's the next thing. Take it to them early to take away their will and all that stuff.
You can worry about that at halftime, see how the game's going. But the second halves have been taking care of themselves.
You play your game.
Well, your game is to fall behind by 10, 15, or 20 in the first half. Don't do that.
That's not your game. That's not what you're coached to do. You're not playing your game by falling behind by 20. Your game is to be what you're capable of being. And you got 40% of your starting lineup is NBA guys. And so you need to be able to show us that you're capable of doing this, because you are capable of doing it. If you can do it in one, the only thing that changes is the number on the scoreboard. Instead of 1, it says 2. And if you can do it in 2, you can do it in 1. So I'm not really worried about destroying Oklahoma State. I think that's more of a cliche. Take it to them early. Just play well. If Oklahoma State plays well and they're hitting a bunch of shots, okay, fine. But you play well. If you play well, you're going to win. You're a better team.
If they hit shots early, then maybe it looks a little like the Wisconsin game where that thing stayed level for a while and then BYU went on a run. Because if a team's surviving, if they're struggling but they're hitting tough shots, they're not going to hit tough shots for 40 minutes. I just don't
right, but
believe
that's why I'm
coaches
not
are.
really worried about what their team. I'm concerned
right.
about BYU.
You're taking it one possession at a time.
I want to see what BYU can do and play a complete game. Don't give me these half games. They haven't played a complete game. And that's the goal. If you play a complete game, you win. And it really doesn't matter what the other team is doing.
They should definitely beat Oklahoma State if they play a complete game.
Yes, they have to.
If BYU comes out with a B+, A- game, I think they win the game.
This is their biggest game to date, given the circumstances. If you lose this game and then mojo is gone, whatever you may have had, and you're not living up to the expectations, and then the expectations sort of swallow you up. And I've seen that happen in sports.
Hate it when that happens.
Yeah, I don't think it will. We'll see about Saturday. But get this ball game tonight, get back on the winning track, get back into town, and have 2 good days of practice, and then get ready for a great matchup on Saturday night.
7 o'clock, FS1, BYU, and Oklahoma State. More with DJ and PK in a moment.
It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
News update. This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag Utah Jazz.
Through the lane, Collier hands to Lowry. He rises high with the right hand, packs it. Some like it hot. And Lowry marketing is that right now. Collier driving, bulldozes Furpy to the ground, lays it up and in, dominating inside, puts it through, and the Jazz are up 6. Scoops to Bailey, big steps through the rim, reverse side layup is good. How smooth are you, Ace Bailey?
Oh my gosh! Some like it hot. Some like it when you play an awful team like the Indiana Pacers. I watch that game, as I always do, when they play. Honestly, maybe outside of Walker, that's the only guy I had ever heard of for the Pacers. Bunch of guys on the bench I had known. But the Jazz, they win 131-122. Freaking Isaiah Collier, my gosh.
Stockton.
Get out of the way to that other who? John who?
Right?
Man, I'm telling you, looks like Isaiah Collier took a vaccine that permits him from not getting turnovers.
Oh, I get the reference. I see where you're going with that.
22 assists to 2 turnovers. Oh, Majerus used to talk to me about how he wanted a 2-to-1 ratio in assist to turnovers out of guys like Andre Miller. 22-2. Holy freak. Yeah, Jazz. A fine night. I knew they were going to win because Indiana is really bad. But that's not the story of the day, is it? And that's Riley R. Jensen. You heard his voice there. He's going to do some work for us today. The Jazz with the trade. Oh, my gosh. Is this the biggest trade they've had since when? You're a lifelong Jazz fan. Jeff Hornacek? That's pretty big. They traded guys away.
Right.
Mitchell, Gobert, Darren Williams. But bringing somebody in of this caliber, I have to go back to before I was here. Maybe the biggest.
Kelly Tripucka for Adrian Dantley.
Kelly Tripucka, he was okay. That was before I was here.
Right. That's where my mind went.
He was an okay player. I mean, obviously they wanted to get rid of Dantley there. But Jaren Jackson Jr., JJJ, man, we got Jeremiah Jensen, and he got
one-upped.
He's just JJ. Now we got JJJ, and he'll be hitting a lot of J's.
Well, he's got to be good if he's a triple J.
Yeah.
Triple threat.
I mean, he won't be smoking many J's, but he'll be burying J's. Step outside and smoke myself a J. Paul Simon.
Yeah.
Yeah, how about that trade, man? And they got Jacques Lawndale, the guy from St. Mary's, via Australia. What do they call that Australian Olympic team, Jacques?
Boomers.
The Boomers, yeah. He's been on that team, Eddie. Yeah, we remember him from St. Mary's, for sure.
We had Andrew Bogut having the Utah basketball program. He asked him to take care of Jacques Lawndale for him.
Yeah. Well, coming here for the Jazz, and obviously Bogut spent a couple years here with the Utes, leading them to the Sweet 16 his sophomore season. John Concher and Vince Williams Jr. And they're going to win. I'm going to call them we. Walt Clayton Jr., Kyle Anderson, Hendricks, and Niang. And I think the big thing was, we'll see what happens with Clayton Jr. and Hendricks. I'm certainly not going to give up on either guy, but you got to give up something to get something. But the 3 future first-round picks, 2 27 picks and a 31 pick. And don't they get a Phoenix pick, too, in there, right?
That's the 2031 pick.
Yeah. That's their pick.
How many picks do they have left? How many first round? I mean,
Jazz?
Yeah, they banked like 12 of them.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Still.
I mean, I wrote that
They still
down.
have 7.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, and so that's what you got to do, man.
They must like Triple J.
Yeah, well, he's a player. He's only 26 years old, too. He's one of these guys who feel like when they get 26 and they come out after a year and then they have success, it feels like they've been around for such a long time, but he's still only 26 years old. I mean, I'm not even sure he's in his prime, and he's had good runs. I've always liked the kid.
20 and 6, 20 points, 6 rebounds a game.
Yeah, he had. He's not a good rebounder for his size, but he's a good
Is he really
scorer.
as tall as everybody said? I'm so tired of the height thing. I want to talk about that later.
Okay.
Everybody used to be 6'10". Now all of a sudden, Larry Markkanen's 7'1". This guy's 6'10". It used to be a consistent line. Now it's all over the place.
Yeah, my wife went to the doctor, had to get a bone density test, and they measured her an inch shorter than she always thought she was. And now she's all depressed, thinking, oh my gosh, I'm getting older. I'm going to be shrinking. You're going to be like 5'2" here soon.
Doesn't that happen to everybody?
Yeah, well, I know, but when it happens, it's...
traumatic.
Yeah, mortality staring in the face.
Okay.
Fortunately, being married to me, she's had a good run, so, you know.
You talking like it's already over. She had a good run.
She's having a good run.
I mean, golly.
All right, we will get to that the rest of the morning on this trade. It's a big deal. Tim LaComb coming up in about an hour and a half to talk about it. A lot of fun, man. It signals one crucial thing, and we will get to that at 7:30 after we get done with what's trending. So let's move on to the NBA.
#NBA.
The N-freaking-BA is all sorts of busy. The trade deadline just over 24 hours away. James Harden going to Cleveland for Darius Garland and a second-round pick. Well, we'll see, man. Harden told ESPN he didn't want to feel like, quote, he was holding up the Clippers up in their future. I want to actually have a chance to rebuild and get some draft capital. I see an opportunity to win in the East. We've got a very good team, coaching staff, and all of the above. So as much as I wanted to stay in L.A. and give it a go, I've never won before. And as a basketball mind, I think we have a bit of a better chance. Well, we'll see.
Is he a basketball mind? James Harden?
Well, the East is weaker. And Cleveland, I mean, they had the best record in the league last year. Was it in the league? I think it was in the league. Maybe not. No, maybe OKC had it. But anyway, they had it in the East. And this year they don't have near the record, so something was askew. Jazz went in there and won a couple weeks back, if I remember.
Does he ever run out of teams that want him?
He's 36 years old, man. He's made a boatload of money. And
I know. And, you would think that a guy like this that has bounced to so many teams that eventually you're like, yeah, we're not interested. But it seems like
a player of his caliber seems like he shouldn't be on as many teams as he has been on.
Correct.
I will buy that 100%. But away you go. And now he's with Cleveland with our guy Donovan Mitchell. So we'll see what happens.
I heard he's a glue guy. I heard he's a really, really good teammate.
Mitchell or Harden?
James Harden.
Well, he's got to have the ball. Mitchell's got to have the ball. And it seems like Garland.
I think he's going to be great for them.
You're being sarcastic.
What are you, an expert in sarcasm? Don't answer that.
May have dabbled in that a time or two.
I mean, he's a real glue guy, rolls up his sleeves.
My sister got me this patch, and then my sisters are way older than me, and it says "Smart Bleep White Boy." So,
listen, you're obnoxious, but you'll tell the truth.
That's the truth. That's what I've heard, man. That's going to be on my tombstone. We'll get to Peach Windows and Doors later. We're now doing some stuff for them, and I enjoyed the opportunity to meet with them, and we'll talk about that in a bit. And the Celtics getting Vucevic from the Bulls for Anthony Simons, second-round pick. Boston wants a center, and so Vucevic, I mean, he's a scorer. Is he a center? I guess he's a center in today's game as a center. I don't look at him as a big, intimidating guy, but I don't know that there's the perfect center anymore who does a little bit of everything really well. And so he can score, and we'll see if they get Tatum back if he decides to come back this year. The Celtics are only, they're in second place, so they've maintained their ability to be competitive while Jason Tatum is recouping, so we'll see how that goes. Let's see. No big games. Well, the Mavs lost, man. And the Jazz, they're only Mavs and Memphis in 3 games back. One thing for sure is I would tell Jaren Jackson Jr., when you come here, make sure you bring your golf clubs, because I don't want you playing a whole lot of basketball these next 30 games. All right, let's move on to college basketball.
Hashtag college basketball.
Yeah, I think everything's on the table as far as considerations. So, we've analyzed it quite a bit. Like I said, everything's on the table. Gut feel, not going to make a lineup change. But, yes, in terms of analyzing it to that degree, yes, we've analyzed it to that degree.
That's KY, Kevin Young, in his media availability yesterday. He was asked about, you've got these miserable first halves. What thinking about changing? And he talked about, possibly change the starting line. The problem is he didn't have a whole lot of options there. So, and he said gut feeling is he won't. They got a big game tonight. They're 16th ranked. They've lost 3 of 4. They're at Oklahoma State, man. I covered college basketball for so many years for the Watchdog, and road games are potentially perilous. So we'll see how this goes. Oklahoma State's not a bad team. We saw them come into the Huntsman Center and beat the Utes on Saturday evening. So we'll see. 7 o'clock FS1. Utes got ASU. That should be an opportunity for them to get a victory. And then Utah State's got a massive game at the Pit, New Mexico. Log jam up top in the Mountain West. 9 o'clock start, so it's a late game. And I guess that's right after the Cougar game, right? Same station, as you say there, Fox Sports 1. Yeah, so it's a late night for basketball. It's a big game for for the Aggies, as I say. You're an Aggie, Riley R. Jensen. You feeling confident?
I'm actually feeling really confident about that team right now. It feels like, I mean, you look at just the last game they played, Templin stepped up and played really, really well.
Yeah, live body, that kid.
But I feel like every single game, there's somebody different that steps up and makes big plays for them. They don't seem to be a selfish team. They share the basketball, and they're actually really exciting to watch.
How about the pit, though, man? I've been there many times.
I know that's what makes some of these old Mountain West matchups really fun, and I think I'll miss New Mexico.
Oh, for sure.
For the whole Pac-12 thing, whatever that means.
I've missed it when BYU and Utah left.
Right.
I covered both teams there, and been to Albuquerque many, many times, and that is the biggest sporting event. Their football team was good this year, and good for them. But normally it hasn't been good, and their link to the big time was basketball.
No, I still consider them a basketball school.
Yeah, they would go nuts. I was there. They would meet recruits coming past security to interview them for basketball. Just recruits, not commits. Just coming in for a visit. And like Sunday night, how they do the sports shows. 3 stations did Lobo basketball for a half hour on Sunday night during the season. Yeah, because there was a big Monday games, and so I'd be there for Sunday, and I'd be sitting in the hotel watching. So New Mexico basketball is the biggest thing.
Was Reggie Theus the coach there, or was he at New Mexico State?
New Mexico State.
Oh, was it New Mexico State?
Yeah.
I just remember some funny posters that were hung up behind the basketball standard when Reggie Theus came in.
Dave Bliss, who got himself in all sorts of trouble. Fran Fraschilla. They got a whole slew of guys because Patino's son there, and Steve Alford committed to a 10-year contract, and then never coached a day. Went to UCLA.
Did he never go coach a day?
Well, he was there, and then they had some success. I think they won here. I think it was in the Delta Center, and so they had a good run. Maybe did they make the Sweet 16? They won at least a game, if not 2. And so then they got all fired up. He signs he commits to a 10-year deal, and then a week or 2 later, he's over in Westwood there coaching the Bruins. Now he's obviously in Nevada. So college basketball tonight. The Utah State game begins radio-wise 8:30 at 1280 on 1280 a.m. Scotty G will have the call as he heads down to Albuquerque. So college basketball taking center stage tonight. Okay, there's a thing called the NFL we got to talk about.
#NFL.
NFLPA, that's the Players Association, said the players in the league, quote, have no appetite for a regular season 18th game. It looks like the league will push to add another game to the regular season in the near future. I agree. Do we need 18 games?
I don't know.
That just seems too much. What's the point? And so many times, it doesn't matter if you play 10 games, if it's 20 games. That last game, what does it mean?
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you what it means.
I know it means money.
Yeah, that's it.
But, isn't it enough? These guys, San Francisco, you still use them as kind of a quasi-local team, man. They're having guys drop left and right.
Yeah, but that's because they're next to the electricity plant.
I know that. Say that. That's crazy.
You know what's funny about that? They didn't. The players have been joking about it for years. Years. And then they actually came out with some study recently that said that it might have something to do with it. But they just would joke around, and then I think that's what brought the attention to it.
Well, the Philadelphia Phillies, this is a sad story. You know, they have a new stadium now. They used to play in those multi-purpose things.
Oh, yeah, that old AstroTurf stadium.
Yeah, and they had at least 3, maybe 4 and 5 guys. Tug McGraw, Darren Dalton.
That died of cancer?
Brain cancer.
What's the correlation?
They all played there.
Well, I know, but just the stadium?
You got me, man.
Staph infection from the turf? What?
You got me. You got me.
That's crazy.
Didn't St. George have some issue with that? Didn't they have something down there that they were talking about, that they did something in the desert? Radioactive stuff or something? Am I up in the night on that one?
It wouldn't surprise me.
Go.
When my brother played at Snow College, they had a turf that was in there, and they had like something like 1,000% incidences of staph infection, and they had to like figure out what to do about that for a minute.
Yeah. So
It was crazy
all I know is a
the
bunch
guys,
of guys
they would slide on the turf, and then
guys in their 50s, ex-ball players, including Tug McGraw,
who we all know
is the father of Tim McGraw.
But I knew him as the Sprite commercial guy.
Well, if you didn't know Tug, he was a relief pitcher for the Mets and Phils. And I think when the Phils won the World Series back in 81, 82, somewhere in there. And
He's like one of my earliest baseball memories, to be honest with you.
And his son, Tim McGraw, I think it was an out-of-wedlock thing. They didn't connect till later, but
yeah.
Nevertheless, they did make a connection, and Tim McGraw is a country music superstar. And
wrote a song about him.
Yeah, and what was that song?
It was I went 2.7 seconds on a bull named Fu Manchu.
Oh yeah, I went skydiving.
There you go.
Rocky Mountain climbing.
It's a good song. That was his dad.
2.7 on a bull named Fu Manchu. Yeah, I know that tune.
Yep.
So we'll see about that. And
Live like you were dying. That's what it was.
Yeah. Former KC Chiefs OC Matt Nagy has joined John Harbaugh's staff with the Giants as their new OC, so he will be coordinating Jackson Dart. You're a Jackson Dart guy.
I do like him.
Tell me, how does Shedeur Sanders make the Pro Bowl and Jackson Dart didn't? That's what they call a head scratcher.
Is part of that equation like fans votes, or is it just?
I don't know. I didn't pay attention.
I mean, do you care about like who's like a Pro Bowler anymore?
Not anymore. No.
I used to.
I used to too. It used to be like an all-star in baseball.
Yeah.
And an NBA all-star.
And now it's like I don't.
No.
It's like
I mean, they do it.
mean
Guys
anything.
who are in the Super Bowl are ineligible.
Right.
So that's ridiculous. Yeah, they're trying.
Well, yeah,
to,
and then there'll be some guy that can't play in it. So then there's like three different alternates that end up making the team, and they all get credit for being all pro.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so were you all pro or not?
Yeah, it doesn't hold the weight that it used to. Falcons president Matt Ryan, he's not committing either way to Michael Penix Jr. As let's see, he's recovering. Penix is from a torn ACL. And my gosh, obviously that timeline is 9 to 12 months, and he's had multiples of those. That kid has not been able to stay healthy. He stayed healthy for a year or so in college, and that helped.
Well,
him
and then
get.
the year he was the backup.
He didn't play. Yeah, so we will have Ian Furness. He'll be joining us at 9 o'clock. He's the longtime Salt Lake radio personality, now in Seattle, and obviously Seattle is in the Super Bowl. So we'll talk to him about that. Coming up. All right, college football's up.
Hashtag college football.
They're moving off New Year's Eve, man. That's sweet. So that it just allows me to go disco dancing even longer. They don't want to, that's a Thursday, and I think it's going to be NFL games that night. So they're going to play, what is that? Is that the quarters? Yeah, the quarters will be on Wednesday, December 30th. Fiesta Bowl and a triple header. Then following on Friday, January 1st, you'd have the Cotton Bowl, Peach Bowl, Rose Bowl, and then the semis would be 2 weeks later with the Orange Bowl and Sugar Bowl hosting those games. So I guess the question is, where will BYU be playing on the night before New Year's Eve? Right?
Right.
They're going this year.
For sure.
Yeah.
Done deal.
Fact. I can see it now.
I will say this.
What will you say? That's the job. You got to say something.
They did a pretty good job of keeping their own players. They really did. I think that's the best recruiting that BYU did this year, was the fact that they kept so many of their good players.
You know why they did that, don't you?
Why?
Why they want to add the 18th game in the NFL? What'd you just tell me?
Oh, money.
Ah, the root of all joy. Money.
I'm not going anywhere with that. I know where you're trying to suck me into.
Mark it down now. The quarterfinals. BYU versus Michigan.
You're the biggest BYU homer.
Michigan's going to be playing that team out west.
You love BYU. That team out west.
With all those ex-BYU guys on the staff. That's the best thing that happened with Whittingham leaving at Utah. They got rid of all those BYU guys.
Wow.
Team out west. All right, I would love to see that.
That would actually be
Or
great.
Utah, for that matter.
That
I
would
don't
be
care.
fantastic.
Get either one of them. Get both of them in. All right, let's move on to golf.
#golf.
Golf. The world ranking will award world ranking points at top 10 finishers in live golf events for the first time this season. The OWGR, what the heck's that?
Official World Golf
Ranking governing board announced it yesterday. The winner of this week's live golf event in Saudi Arabia is projected to earn about 23 world ranking points, which is less than half of what the PGA Tour full field events receive. Second place will get 13.4. Not 13? 13.4.
The math ain't mathin'.
Okay, well, they're going to have some acknowledgement, but the live golf is like spring training to me. Late in March. You start playing your players longer, not one at bat and then get out of there. You let them play to the 7th inning or something, but it doesn't really count. It doesn't. It's you're playing baseball. People are paying to go see it, but nobody's really keeping score.
Yeah.
I mean, they keep score, but there's no standings that matter. That's the way I view live golf. So my tournament starts tomorrow. The waste management. They ought to call it the wasted management, since so many people get blitzed there and think that's the opportunity to just get rip-roaring drunk. Some of the stuff I've seen has been there gross, and it gets in the way of golf. All right, let's move on to hockey.
#NHL.
Here it is tonight. The Mammoth are at home. The Red Wings. Puck drop, 7 p.m. Coverage right here in the KSL Sports Zone will begin at 6 p.m. with Hockey Night in America. And this is the last week, the last opportunity, last game, I should say, to see them for 3 weeks because of the Olympics. They literally don't have another game until 3 weeks from tonight, as they got 4 guys on the roster who are going to play in the Olympics. Clayton Keller on the U.S. team. The other guys are spread out for their various countries. So the Mammoth 29-23-4. They're holding on to that wild card, and Detroit coming to town. Opportunity to go into the break with some momentum. If they win, they will go in with a 2-game winning streak, and they did have the 2 losses, but before that they had a good homestand. Well, they go 6-1 in that homestand, Yak. If they went, yeah. So continue to win at home here. They lost the other night, but they did win most recently. So we'll see how that goes. Kick the crap out of Vancouver. They're fun to watch. You get into hockey at all?
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to go to a couple of games. It's really, I actually really enjoy hockey in person.
Uh-huh.
That's probably my favorite thing.
I think it's better in person than on television.
Yeah, I don't know why it doesn't give you the feel. Like somehow the TV doesn't give you the feel for like how fast it is, how physical it is, how it's fun. It's very, very fun.
Yeah. There you go. That's what's trending, and it's brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. Okay, I told you, Tim LaComb talking Jazz at 8:30, and then at 9 o'clock, Ian Furness talking Super Bowl with the Seahawks being in it. The Jazz, big trade, people. What do you got? What do you think? It's now time for you to sound off on his freaking trade. Stay with us right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is JJ and Alex.
I got this. I'm starting to buy into the young group showing progress, slowly but surely, churning its way up the tracks to a superstardom maybe in the future.
How about Ace Bailey's last 10 games? You want to see the numbers? 15 points per game, 4.4 rebounds. He's shooting 34% from 3. As a rookie, I'll take that. Yeah. It's going to get better. I talked to Will Hardy, and he talked about what they're doing is trying to get Ace to do a lot of the other things because they know he's an offensive juggernaut. They're working on a lot of other things, and maybe that plus some games he's missed kept him out of the the rising stars, which how do you not have Ace Bailey in that game? Have you not seen the dunks? Have you not seen the production? Why do you not put Ace Bailey in that rising stars? It's a stars competition. These are the best players. So when you have a rising stars, your best young players need to be in that game. It's a joke. He's phenomenal.
Catch JJ and Alex afternoons from 3 to 7 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, it is throwback time for me. The KSL Sports Zone and Beehive Meals are honoring people that impact youth sports in our communities. Nominate the youth sports volunteer that you know for the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week at KSLSports.com/contest. And listen every Thursday afternoon to JJ and Alex for the winner. It's the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week. That's a little modified from when I used to have to do it, but, it feels good to be back. DJ does all that stuff. He had take off today. He may be joining us here shortly. We'll see. The big trade. Jaren Jackson Jr., JJ, my man. There we go with him. Jaren Jackson Jr., JJJ, coming over. What was your first initial reaction, people? This is your time to sound off. What do you think about it? What's the phone number, Yak, if they wanted to call?
801-575-ZONE.
575-ZONE. How do you spell zone?
801-575-9663.
Jake's in the zone.
9663. Yeah. Hey, man, is this the best trade they've made ever? Best trade since when? You getting that two-time All-Star who's 26 years old? And you know what this signals? This is the best part of this trade. What does it signal?
That it basically signals that they're going to start making a run.
Amen.
We're done with the
tankathon
suck of all
over.
sucks.
Yes. Now they should continue to suck. You've only got about a third of the season to go here, and get that draft pick.
Well, yeah, and it's a long flight here.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Triple J should probably take a couple days off.
Well,
make sure he's full go.
And with the weather these days, the flight delays and all,
right?
I would tell him to drive slow.
Take your time, see the sights,
the scenic route.
I've driven
world's biggest ball of yarn, something like that.
From North Carolina through Tennessee to here. It's not very fun from about Kansas to here.
Yeah, I made from Jersey to Phoenix before we actually moved, and even after. I made that probably 5-6 times.
Oof.
One of which was on a bus, a Greyhound.
Brutal.
Yeah. My older sister, she moved out, and so she moved out with her husband. And none of us liked him. Fortunately, she got rid of him. And it was he and I in the U-Haul, and my mother and my sister in the car behind us, right? And there was no Walkman, no nothing. Me and my ex-brother-in-law.
Talking to the guy that everybody hated.
No, I didn't say a word.
You didn't say one word.
He didn't like sports. And I'm 12 years old. And I don't care about anything else.
Oh, you were 12.
Years old. Yeah.
You were 12.
Yeah.
What are you going to talk about?
No, yeah. I want to talk about the Mets, Yankees, the Giants, the Jets, the Knicks.
Anything.
Nothing. Like, I had zero in common with him.
Did he try to talk to you?
He just couldn't talk my language.
Right.
I didn't care about cars. And even, I'm a one-track dude, man. I mean, when as I got a little older, I can talk about chicks a little bit, but...
I'm sure Jackie loves that.
And so...
When you call her a chick.
There's one thing
chick.
There's one thing I know is how to treat a woman, right? Don't you forget that. Women will tell you that.
Listen, I'm really tired this morning. I don't want to be woken up to that. right?
Well, that's because you are woken up.
You're right.
I understand you.
I know you do.
So
thank goodness you're forgiving of my views.
Very forgiving. I'm a very humble, forgiving person. Always been. So yeah, take Jaren Jackson. I don't want to see him on the floor that much. Actually, they've got plenty of time next year because I want him to get that pick. Because if lottery balls fall their way, and they get a top 3 pick, oh my goodness!
I honestly feel this year if you get a top 5 pick, you're
okay.
You're
You got me
in a really
there.
good spot.
I think that's point taken. And 2, you can bring that kid in. Particularly if he's a big man and you can bring him along slow. Now I'm thinking, man, if I was all about DeBonsa and Boozer, maybe not as much Peterson, but Peterson, watching him, I watched him play the last 2 full games out of Kansas, obviously in that first half against the Cougs, and then the other night, 2 massive threes on the road against Tech. Place is packed, and he just fearless and just looked so smooth. Get him, because if you bring back Kessler, you got your front line there. You got size. Any of those 3, Boozer, Carlos' son, and AJ down the road here, or Peterson, that would just be so awesome. This team would really then be set up for a run if they want to re-sign Kessler. I think they would, but who knows? And then go from there. Man, that'd be super cool. But I always view a trade when it goes down. If there's multiple players, you hardly ever have a trade 1-for-1 anymore. Right? With all the salary implications and everything. So it's multiples and draft picks. Who got the best player? To me, if I go with that philosophy,
it's the Jazz.
The team that got the best player usually is the team who wins the trade. Right? Well, it's clear, at least for now.
So did Minnesota and Cleveland win that trade with the Jazz?
In the short term, yeah. No question.
Okay, but what does winning mean?
Means you have success in the standings, and the scoreboard shows you scored at least 1 more point than the team you just played.
Okay.
Or 1 more goal.
Besides the
I know
obvious.
you're into soccer, so I'll go 1 more goal for you.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
1 more
Big
goal.
Big time.
Yeah.
No. But what I'm saying is the best players in the trade for Minnesota and for Cleveland, when Donovan Mitchell went, it was them. So you think they won those trades? Does that blow up your theory a little bit, or?
Well, because you're including draft picks. So that changes my
okay, but
theory.
there's also draft picks involved in this trade. So you're saying the best player.
I know. I got you. I think that's the point you're making, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm agreeing with you. So it does mitigate or lessen my theory that I've held for years with the number of draft picks. You don't really know. I understand what you're saying.
Right. So one's a long-term play, one's a short-term play. Both can win, but you don't get to see whether the Utah Jazz win for years. You can see immediately with Minnesota and Cleveland that those teams got really
Understood.
good.
Well, now we're starting to see the Jazz winning the trade or doing better at the trade because they're using these picks to acquire Jaren Jackson, right? I mean, I have no idea if Taylor Hendricks is going to amount to anything. Broke his leg, and unfortunate. Clayton Jr. is a rookie. And, he's shooting 39% from the field, 30% from 3, but he's a rookie, so give him time. But it doesn't look like those guys will be at the level that Jaren Jackson already is. So now we got to go pitch. But see, I don't even the problem that I can't say, well, Minnesota or Memphis could win this trade because you don't even know if they're going to keep the picks.
Right.
So then it gets, they trade this because
it's convoluted.
This is what the Jazz had to do. There was no way they were going to use all their picks. You're just not going to add 3 rookies every year for the next 6-7 years. So there's always going to be teams that are in rebuild. And the Ja Morant thing, Ja Morant basically screwed over a franchise. And remember here with his father, and we had to make a big deal, and we had to apologize. And the Jazz asked me, we were employees at the time, I wrote something about it, and this is not our community, blah, 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 blah. And, the stories that were presented may not have been 100% accurate. Well, they've got some issues.
Yeah.
And Ja Morant has had issues all the way. And a couple years back, the Memphis Grizzlies thought they were onto something, and now it all blows up. And you point the finger at Morant.
Yeah.
Injuries, off the field stuff, couldn't grow up, and now they got to blow it up. And away they go. And so the Jazz take advantage of that. If you think they took advantage of it, you're going to end up paying, if you keep Jaren Jackson, which I assume you are, over $50 million. That's his salary, basically, average.
$50 million a year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can go look it up. I looked it up.
No, I know. Basketball's...
Is he that kind of player? Probably not. Is he individually going to be able to come in and change the fortunes of the franchise individually?
No.
I don't think so. But
he's a key piece.
This isn't an individual game. He's not at that level. There's a handful of guys. Those guys don't come around very often. But he's not that kind of player. But with the guys he has, Hornacek wasn't that kind of player, but he helped get him over the hump because they had the statues. And they needed a guy who can fit exactly what Jeff brought.
Well, I think the greatest thing about the Jeff Hornacek trade is the guy averaged 14 or 16 points a game for the Jazz. I don't know that he had one play called to him.
Right. And so
he was a guy that could score without being ball dominant.
No.
He could play good enough defense, and then he was obviously just really, really lethal with some of his shooting.
Yeah, he's dead-eye. He's dead-eye. I mean,
he
is what they needed.
If Triple J can play some sort of a role like Hornacek plays, it's a huge piece.
I need him to play a bigger role, though. He's got... Right now, now? Well, we'll see. We'll see what else. I mean, they can make some moves today, and they will continue to make moves. The charge, as I've said a million times, the charge for the management never changes. You got to make the team better. But at least now, the good thing for the fans, for the media, for the team, for Will Hardy, is they are going to try to win as many ball games as possible, and that's great news. And we'll see, man. Now you can give them a fair evaluation. We come in here, and y'all can attest to this, we come in here every morning talking about the team. Well, what's the point of cracking on them when they got 2 or 3 guys sitting there over on the sidelines? I mean, they're not trying to win. So why am I going to be negative about them not losing the game the night before when they weren't trying to win in the first place? And the good thing is the premise is over. All right, we'll read some of your comments. What do you think of this trade? Stay with us. We'll get to that next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
I think they're in a pinch with Walker, to be honest.
I think you sign him, whatever offer he gets. I think you probably actually just give him a good offer because the Jazz can negotiate with him even before any other team can. Now, maybe he just wants to wait and see how much money he can get. I do think that's dangerous because teams are actually going to be scared off once they recognize, the Jazz are going to match any offer. Why would I tie money up?
Yeah, I've said that before, but yet I've seen it happen a bunch of times. The Jazz had to give up on Wes Matthews, a really talented guy that they loved, because Portland screwed him with a restricted free agent deal. And they gave Paul Millsap way more than they wanted to because Portland screwed him with a restricted free agent deal. And then with Gordon Hayward, when that happened, he was getting a max contract no matter what.
Yeah, he was.
And so what was the point of that other than just ticking off the player?
Catch Jake and Ben weekdays from 10 to noon on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, the dominant topic of the day, Riley Jensen sitting in for DJ, and I am PK, of course, is the big, massive trade. If you want to sound off, 575-9663,
575 zone.
I also have the open mic feature.
The
PK.
open mic, what do? You go on to KSLSports.com and you can click something and
called
away you
the
go?
Cullen feature. Right down at the bottom of the app, you tap it, you can record about 30 to 40 seconds of audio, whatever your take is, and we can play it on air.
Yeah, this is your team,
I'm
man.
going to start doing that.
What
Hey,
do you
we'd welcome
think?
it.
Yeah, this is your team.
PK's a homer.
A homer? Well, man, I want him to win. No doubt about it. I don't have any problem being called on.
No, I was saying what I was going to call in and say.
I know. I got you.
Yeah.
I don't have any problem being thought of as somebody who wants to see all the locals win. I am fine with that because it's better for business. And it's more fun. It just makes sense. Who wants to cover a drubbing night after night, game after game? Do I want the Cougars to go 4-9, 5-7, or 12-2? Well, duh.
When did you come to town? When was your first year here?
93.
93.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's so fun. Like, you just think about the years where local teams do well, and, like, there's just, like, electricity in the air.
There's just no question about it.
It's way more fun.
I came to town just as Utah football was coming of age.
Yeah, 34-31.
And I can remember talking to the U of U people. I covered University of Utah basketball. Was my primary assignment for many years. And
weren't you and Majerus tight?
Boys. Yeah,
I knew it.
Absolutely.
I knew it.
10 years of going toe-to-toe with that man. A lot of fun. He had great teams, great coach. And I remember talking to the sports information people. Bruce Woodbury's deceased now, but, he's a great man, loyal. Everybody called him Woody. Great University of Utah family for forever. And I remember asking him, I said, why isn't the football team better? It seems to me, because I knew nothing about U of U football, literally nothing.
Right.
I'd heard of Scott Mitchell because he went on and played in the NFL.
Right.
That was it. And Lee Grosscup was an announcer, and he talked about it. I knew every BYU quarterback because I watch them on television.
Right.
But you never saw the U of U, so I knew squat about their football program. I knew about their basketball program. Everybody knew about Chambers and Vrains and those guys, Pace Mannion, and so because they were good, so I knew about them. And I said, why is Utah football? Why aren't they better than what they are? It didn't make any sense to me. If BYU could do it, why couldn't Utah? I didn't see the difference that much. And I realize one is a literal religious institution, has a connection, but the other one is right down the street from where the whole thing is headquartered. It seems to me that they should have been better. And then I find out.
What was his answer?
They never got anything going, and the stadium was not good. And then I researched it more, and I found out those Ron McBride's predecessors weren't recruiting local talent a lot. And if you're going to recruit local talent, it probably means you're going to have kids who are of the Latter-day Saint faith and are probably going to go on missions and all, and BYU's doing that. And Ron McBride says, we're going to do that too. Great. It seems so simple that they weren't doing it. And then he brought the program way up. The standards just rose. They became competitive. And they're knocking heads with BYU. When I got here, all I know of this rivalry is it's head-to-head. Anybody can win. Now, I realize in the 9 years, the 9 games the Cougs lost, but that was because they were independent, and they were in the Pac-12, the other guy. And now we're back, and we'll see what happens. It's kind of like the U of A-ASU rivalry. One team wins 2 out of 3 or 2 in a row, and then the other team. They just go back and forth the whole time. I actually like that.
Well, yeah, that's a real rivalry.
That's fun. You don't know what's going to happen. So that team got going, and they're a really good football program now.
Man, you've been spitting facts all day. I wish people could be here in between.
Oh,
when you were
too.
just absolutely like.
In between what?
In between during the commercial break. I wish they could be listening to you like just tell me how the world is.
The world?
I actually learned a lot this morning.
World screwed up. That's all I know about it.
Well, I know, but you told me why.
Yeah, my ignorant opinions on the world.
No. You were spitting facts, and you're spitting facts here. This is why I like to come on your show.
So we got, well, you know, I'm obnoxious, but I tell the truth.
It's true.
That's
very
told.
true.
A client told me that. So here we are. Well, I want them all to win. And now the Jazz, the Utes have been winning, and it's been fun. You realize I went with the Utes. I went to the Fiesta Bowl. I went to the Final Four. I went to the Fiesta Bowl. These are all things I covered. I didn't go as a fan.
Sugar
Bowl. 2 Rose Bowls. 4 conference title games.
Well, don't forget Utah Jazz championships.
I did some of that, but I wasn't the primary guy on those. I mean,
but you were here for that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, the community was lit.
Dude, it was amazing.
Yeah. I would love to see that for the community. I always said at that time, I didn't really care if the players won. I wanted to see the Jazz win the title for 3 reasons. 1, Larry Miller, to see him just ball like a baby out of happiness.
Right.
It would have been so cool.
That's true.
2, Jerry Sloan, because he was the ultimate competitor. My father used to tell me about Jerry Sloan when I was a kid. I was a little too young to watch him play, but my father told me about him because I was a big baseball guy. My father was actually a big basketball guy. That was his favorite sport.
Gotcha.
And the 3 for the fans.
Yeah.
When they were playing the Bulls, those are the 3 reasons I wanted the Jazz to win. For Larry Miller, for Jerry Sloan, and for the community, the great, passionate, loyal fans. And it's sort of the same thing now. Now they had the radio all these years. I want to see it because it makes for better business. And it's fun. It's just so much more fun. And I think that's the thing that signals
it is fun.
The acquisition of Jaren Jackson.
And the whole community, when those things happen, get just really energized and enthused. And
yeah.
I mean, I remember stupid things like Jim Rome coming to town.
Jim Rome.
Remember, back in the day, he was calling John Stockton the pasty gangsta. And, if he came for a tour stop or whatever, you were just like, oh my gosh, this is so cool.
My claim to fame is I subbed for Jim Rome multiple times.
I remember when you and DJ.
That's because he knew him in college. It had nothing to do with me. All right, I asked you what's your response. We'll get to that. I'm going to read one. Aaron, love it. 2-time All-Star, Defensive Player of the Year, 19 points a game. Give him a half season of training training camp with Hardy, and he will be back to his defensive dominance, adding 15 points per game behind Markkanen and Keontae. Ooh, we'll get to that. I may have a disagreement with that. Stay with us. Continue to talk about our guy, Jaren Jackson Jr., right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Scotty G is going to need you, people. Bar W Beef. Join Scotty G Friday from noon to 3 at the Grill at 2264 South Main Street in Nephi. The Grill, Bar W Beef, 2264 South Main Street in Nephi. Scotty doing the show until they figure out what they're going to do on that. Scotty will handle it and bring in guests, and away we go. Life goes on. It always does, man. That's just the facts. So, the last segment, I read something from Aaron where he's saying Jaren Jackson will be a compliment to Markkanen and Keontae. Will he be a compliment, or will he be the best player on a team? Can he be the best player on the Jazz?
Does he need to be with 3 first-round draft picks? Feels like he needs to be better than a compliment, doesn't he?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. 15 points a game is not good enough. This guy averaged 22 on a team. Well, Morant was in and out of the lineup, so who knows? He's suspended, blah, blah, blah. But he is a big man, obviously, and little man got to get him the ball.
Right.
But we got Zay. Zay is the way. 22 assists and 2 turnovers. Plays the whole freaking game, 48.
Yeah, don't forget about him.
What was more impressive, 22 assists to 2 turnovers or 48?
I think 22 assists is...
He played the whole game.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. He might be out 3 weeks now with load management.
Scotty Skiles and John Stockton are watching that going, man, that used to be hard to do.
What else is new?
Scott Skiles?
Well, he has the record. Scotty Skiles has the record. John Stockton had like 22 or 24 in a game.
For a singular game?
Yeah.
Oh, what is Scott
I don't know.
Skiles?
I'll have to look it up. Let me look it up.
How do you know he has the record?
Because I was mad John Stockton didn't have it.
He's got to hold every assist record?
Yeah, he has to hold every single one of them.
So the
30 assists.
30 was...
Scott Skiles holds the NBA record for most assists in a single game, dishing out 30 assists in 1990, December 30th, 1990.
Oh, how about that? Scott Skiles.
Random facts for 500.
That's kind of a random player, Scott Skiles. He was
No,
okay.
You gotta appreciate that guy.
Yeah, he had the bulldog mentality, but I mean, he's not an all-timer.
No, but you know what's really fun for me? So I have a younger brother that's 18 years younger than me.
Uh-huh.
And we're obviously totally different generations. I'm Gen X. He's a millennial, right? And you get this whole like friction between like, oh, there's a bunch of plumbers playing in the NBA, you know, and I'll pull out guys and I'll just say, hey, can you just check out this plumber for me? And I'll send him like, I'll send him like Francis, the franchise, Stevie Francis.
Steve Francis.
And he's like, holy crap, that guy was good. And then I'll be like, hey, then I'll send him one of Price, you know, the point guard.
Mark Price, yeah.
Mark Price.
He was good.
I'll send it to him. He's like, God, that guy was good. You know, and I'm like, yeah, dude, you guys all talk like there was no good guy. I mean, Scotty Skiles, like, really, really good like
he was solid.
We talk about like the 80s and 90s like they were all just a bunch of jokers and like nobody was athletic. And I'm like, you know, I'm like
shooting shot shots.
Yeah. I mean, they act like it's Bob Cousy. You know, I mean, Dr. J was doing things in the ABA. Like, have you seen that Netflix special?
I have not.
They got a thing on the ABA, and he is like, I mean, that dude was doing every single dunk you can imagine.
See, I lived in the New York area, and he played for the New York team.
Right.
So I watched him on television. Yeah.
And so it's fun for me to just kind of go, hey, check out this plumber, you know, because so many people just think that like nobody was good in the 90s. And I'm like, dude, there were so many. Like, yeah, the game was different. It's definitely different now. But in some ways, I like the game of the 90s better than I like it now. I mean, so many threes now.
Oh, I agree. I agree on that. The thing that drives me nuts is you get a
old school, but
2 3-on-1 fast break. Instead of taking the two, guys run to the corner.
Right. Feels weird, right?
Yeah. I know I get 3 is better than 2, but 2 is better than 0. And so, but I mean, I get it.
No, I get the analytics,
too many threes.
And I get all these things, but like, I feel like I watch a pro game now every once in a while, and I'm just like, dude, has anybody like tried to go to the hoop? Because I feel like it's like they're only going to the hoop to kick it out to the 3, and then we just watch a whole bunch of guys shoot long shots.
Largely, yeah.
I mean, not every team, but and there are really good teams in the NBA, but man, it feels different than like. I feel like in the late 90s and the early 2000s, there was point guards who would control the clock, that would control the pace of the game, and they could actually get like a nice set shot off. Now, I don't even know that they run sets anymore. I know people are listening going, yes, they do. I get it, but largely not as much.
Okay, and what does that person who is 18 years younger say about today's game?
They love it.
Right.
I know.
Because it's what they grew up with.
I know.
Yeah, it's whatever.
I'm just giving my opinion, but I think both were incredibly athletic.
Well, I've always thought that the NBA players as a collection are the greatest collection of athletes in all of sports.
Who could you even throw in the category with that?
Football.
Yeah, but there's so here's the thing that I love about football is that there's a place for every body type and every type of athleticism.
Yeah, but I think that
but I don't think that they are
defensive linemen and offensive linemen, they look big.
I also think for their size, they're amazingly athletic.
No, I don't disagree with that, but they're not. All you have to do is play basketball with a couple of football players every once in a while, and you're like, oh, he's really good at jumping cones and running fast. He's not coordinated.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
So I think when you're talking about basketball, you're talking about guys that are coordinated and athletic.
But all sports have their own individual level of requirement for athleticism. You watch some of these NBA players throw out the first pitch, and it's embarrassing.
Oh, that's actually true.
Yeah.
That's actually true.
They can't get it from – they can't throw the ball 60 feet, 6 inches. They got to stand way up, and
that's a really good point.
They look uncoordinated.
But
yet they can go fly through the air and dunk.
I guess my original premise was I agree with you that I think basketball is the greatest collection of athletes. I think the only thing that I could throw in there that and there's just not as many as tennis players. I think those guys are incredibly athletic. They can do a lot of different things, and they have to play under pressure, and they have to be coordinated, and they have to be physically fit. And I know that's probably not the most popular take, but tennis players are incredibly athletic.
Okay, yeah,
that's the only thing that I can even think would be close because I don't.
I think you all.
I've seen too many football players that are like they're just not coordinated.
Okay.
I used to get in an argument with my parents because I would say, well, I'm not super athletic, and they used to get really mad. But what I figured out over the years was my idea of super athletic was running, jumping high, and being. Their definition of athletic was coordinated. So they used to get mad at me when I would say I'm not as athletic, and I'm thinking in terms of like running, jumping, lifting weights, right? And what their argument was is they thought I was the most coordinated person that they'd ever seen. Like when they were being complimentary of me, right?
Yeah, coordinated versus athleticism, I think can be two different things. I understand.
I think they're two different things.
Yeah, and unfortunately for me, I have 0 on both.
No, that's not true.
I'm neither coordinated.
That's not
nor
true.
Athletic.
Not true.
All I can
Great golfer. That is coordination. Is it not?
To an extent.
To an extent?
Yeah.
Golfers are incredibly coordinated.
Okay.
I think baseball players that can hit, incredible coordinated.
Well, the two hardest things to do in sports are hit a baseball and consistently hit a golf ball well.
Okay, well, you're coordinated.
Yeah.
Those were the two sports that you were attracted to.
Yes, those are facts. I can't. Although when I was as a freshman, I did play football, basketball, and baseball. And then I gave them up and just concentrated on baseball.
Why did you give up football? What's the reason you gave up football?
Because I moved out to Phoenix and
so
practice started.
When you moved?
It was 115.
And you're like, can't.
This is awful.
Want to, can't.
The varsity got to practice at night sometimes, but the JV and freshmen, no.
Right.
I played freshman football because I moved from New Jersey and I literally didn't know a soul. And that brother-in-law that I hated,
yeah,
I actually had to live with him for the first my
just spreading joy this morning.
My freshman year, my parents didn't come until later, and they wanted me to start at the school year. Since my sister was way older than me, 11 years older.
So you went to live with her
and her husband, yeah,
who was awesome.
I'll give him credit. He tried.
Okay.
He put up a hoop in his driveway.
Okay.
And he took me to sporting events.
And he didn't like sports.
Not much, but he tried. I gotta give him credit.
All right.
He took me to Suns games. He took me to ASU stuff.
Yeah.
We had the Giants AAA team was there at the time, so I did. He made a solid effort. Yeah. So I'll give him credit for that.
Ninth grade was a pivotal year for you. I moved in ninth grade, too.
It was awful.
I moved in ninth grade.
I moved 2,500 miles west with an accent and an attitude that didn't fit in. Yeah, it was not fun. So, but there you go. I moved around a lot.
Formative. I'll bet you learned a ton in the next 3 years.
Yeah, I hate people. That's why I'm a loner.
I love it. I love the lessons that you've learned from life. Yes.
You think that Jaren Jackson will add to the athleticism of the Jazz?
Yes. Well, you already see all the memes and all the pictures of like how tall everybody's going to be.
They're going to have a big lineup, man.
It's going to be a lot of length there.
Yeah.
His wingspan is 7'4" from what I read.
Right.
That's not terrible.
The thing that's going to be interesting to see what they do with Kessler. I don't see how you don't resign him, and then you're going to be spending a lot of money on these guys. But every team that's good spends a lot of money. So you can't just have this money, and, the space, essentially using the space on Jaren Jackson, are you going to get anybody better? And then is he good enough? Because we see with a lot of teams, they spend their money on their best player, but their best player isn't good enough to really make a move in the standings. You see what I'm saying?
One person said on social media yesterday, get ready to learn luxury tax, Utah, because that front line is probably going to be 120 at minimum.
Yeah, I mean, what are they? Kessler, $25 million?
That's going to be a bargain, it feels like, in some ways.
You need a defender and you need a rebounder. For all of Jackson's abilities, his career rebounding is 5.5.
That's not his game, yeah.
He's got to improve that.
He needs a true 5 like Kessler alongside him, but to your point,
most definitely.
You're going to be paying $50 million to JJJ, 40 plus to Lowry, and then whatever Kessler slots in at.
And then Keontae's going to come up. But I mean, they got to do something. You just can't sit pat and just exclusively build through the draft, and you got no choice. So under the circumstances, and I know some people think this is lousy in large part because of the financial commitment, but to me, were you going to get anybody better than Jackson, then it becomes how good is Jackson combined with the other guys. And the great thing about it is that in the coming years we'll be able to see it, and it'll be fun to see how it develops. Are they right back in the same boat to where, okay, they've got a good team. They had a good team with Mitchell. They had a good team with Boozer and D. Will, but it wasn't good enough. Is this going to be the same thing? I'm not willing to go there. I don't want to put a cap on this. I can see people who are negative towards the Jazz and don't want their feelings hurt and have the defense mechanism to say, well, yeah, that's what it's going to be. We'll ask Tim LaComb about it next, get his thoughts on this acquisition. So stay with us right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right, it is Win Tickets Wednesday. Don't miss your chance to win big every week on the KSL Sports Zone. This week, you can win tickets to see Brian Regan at the Delta Center on Saturday, February 14th, Valentine's Day. Get your tickets today at SeatGeek.com or listen to the KSL Sports Zone all day Wednesday for your chance to win. All right, man. The big trade, Jaren Jackson Jr. is coming, and it signals the end of the tankathon, does it not? Yes, it does. Joining us now is Jazz analyst on radio. You can hear him every game, pre, half, and post with Jake Scott. His name is Tim LaComb. Tim, you're on with PK and Riley Jensen. Good morning.
What's going on, fellas? Riley?
Tim?
Good to talk to you, man.
Good to talk to you. Minute. It has been a minute.
I think it was Guadalajara or something like that. We had a Mexican lunch together one day.
It was good.
That's about the last time I seen you.
Yeah.
So, I hope you guys are doing great. Good morning.
Give me your initial reaction, and then now as you've had time to process the trade.
Initial reaction, I was sitting at work and had a colleague run around the corner like, "We got a Shams bomb." And I was on the phone, so I just grabbed the phone out of his hand because I couldn't see it. I'm 55, and I can't see as well as I used to, so I put that thing close to my face. And I think the first thing I saw was Utah Jazz. I knew we were, there was something going on. And when I saw Jaren Jackson Jr., I mean, that's a guy who you make a list. I've been doing this for 6 years now. And when the teams roll through, you have an opportunity to see everybody in the league. And some guys really impress you. And I think Jaren Jackson, just his ability to do all the things I think that the Jazz need right now. He's a spacing guy that can shooting 36% on 5 threes a game. He's obviously got the ability to really abuse mismatches, and with a very big lineup out there, people have to pick their poison, who guards who. But overall, just the fact that dude's a 2-time All-Star and Defensive Player of the Year, it just signals that the Jazz they had their ear to the ground and struck when the opportunity presented itself.
As a mental performance coach, I'm huge on just body language, and this as a coach. Like, it's so much easier to coach someone who seems to take coaching well, who's a good teammate, all those kind of things. In your observations of him, is he a mentally tough guy? Is he a team guy? Is he a leader? Like, what does he bring to the table that way?
Yeah, I think everything I've heard, high character, very high character, well respected, well loved around Memphis. I think a guy, like I say, when you start to think about the possibilities of putting him in a lineup with Walker at the 5, and he and Lowry kind of just picking their poison, because they're both capable of doing wing-like things and also, spacing, and then also attacking mismatches. So that'll be an interesting pairing. And then, I think the way that this season's progressing, you're still looking to add one more big piece to, a Keontae George and Ace Bailey. To me, it's a thing where, yeah, he fits a lot of needs, but he also fits. And I think culturally, chemistry, he's a professional. And, I think what he's going to do is really be blown away by what this is like out here, what the ownership is like, what the coach is like, what the support on a nightly basis is like. And then most importantly, he's kind of getting distanced from what has been over the last 2 or 3 years a circus in Memphis because of all of the goings on with Ja.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Tim LaComb joining us. You can hear him as the Jazz radio analyst here on Pre-Half and Post with Jake Scott before, during, and after every game. Yeah, I understand that completely, because that has been a mess there. Looked like it was something good, and then it got sideways, as Jerry Sloan would say, and just went down the toilet, basically. And here, now, especially with the stability that is there with management, ownership, coaching, and the players that are on the team, I think he's going to be able to come into an environment. And I always believed if you got players here and saw what it was about, they'll enjoy it. And we hear it from so many ex-players that they did enjoy it, especially after they had perspective of other different places. When you look at it, I'm not excited about his rebounding. His rebounding for a big man is not something that is that good. It is not even averaging 6 boards. Marketing, obviously, he can do it. I mean, they all can do it, but their skill sets are indicative of doing something else. What do you think this means for Kessler? We know he's a restricted free agent there here this summer, and he wasn't given the contract, and then obviously he's out this year. To me, he becomes even more vital than he already has been.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think from a distance, I think Walker's a smart guy. And, you mentioned the rebounding with Jaren. That's one thing that's always been interesting to me. And the only thing I can say to that is I've sat in this chair and watched different guys come from different situations into the Jazz. And, the one thing you get is you get a really high-level experience, skill development, and kind of refreshing all of the things, regardless of what part of your career you're in. And, the one that stands out to me, Colin Sexton, that dude, when he came here, that dude knew one speed, the 100 miles an hour. And he really played fast, and the rest, everything fell where it fell. And I think when he got here, Will really mentored him in a great way. He really kind of slowed him down. I think Colin became a more efficient player, using that speed still, using that burst and everything else, but just tempering in a little bit of basketball feel. And that's hard to get into somebody, but I saw Will do it. And the way he does it is he does it not through somebody else. He builds the relationships with guys. And, he's a guy who was able to tell Keontae George the truth this offseason, things that were deficient in his game that he needed to address. And I think probably the most important thing with all of that is, you've got a guy in Will Hardy who has been a great soldier over the last few years, but this dude can really coach, and his staff can coach and they can develop. So I think with all that being said, I think there are things that every player has to address, but the beauty of the atmosphere and the culture in Utah, those aren't just things that sit out to the side that everybody knows are there, but nobody really addresses. Will does it. He addresses these things. And so in my mind, it's a fresh start for Jaren. He's out of a situation that's been tough. And like I say, he gets here with the support across the board. I think it's easier to maybe address some of the issues that he needs to address to become even better.
Everybody talks about the fans, and the fans are tired of losing and all that kind of stuff. As a person who's been a coach, how refreshing and can this rejuvenate? And I'm not saying that the coaches aren't, motivated to coach, but is this helpful from a coaching standpoint as well? Your mentality, having kind of a new athlete to play with and to figure out like where he fits and how he fits. Does this help the morale of a coaching staff as well?
I would definitely think so. In fact, I said last night on the post game that, Will, especially after winning the game last night as well in Indy, he had to be sitting back on that plane with his brain just flying with ideas. So I do think there's some rejuvenation, and you can really see the light at the end of the tunnel. You mentioned the fans, and I want to address one thing on that. I mean, I've had the beautiful opportunity to sit in that chair from the inception of what this rebuild is, and the way I've kind of talked about in an analogy in pre and post is watching a house get torn down to the studs and rebuilt, literally. And what has been fascinating to me is the number of people that have been so, critical of sawdust on the floor or, a part that hadn't arrived yet that needed to be put on the house. Of course, through the rebuild, there's not going to be many positive signs. You got to really kind of dig in and look. But I just want this, from when I started this 6 years ago, the Jazz were straight up against the cap with two players that basically didn't get along, a locker room that was somewhat divided, and, a future of maybe we can compete and get in the playoffs. But ultimately, I think everybody in the room knew they were up against it, and there's no way they could win a title. And so the hard thing to do at that point was do what they did. And it has been painful. There's no doubt about it. But where the Jazz sit today, they now have, on the roster, they now have two guys who have played an all-star game. They have a guy in Keontae George who has put up numbers that should probably be, in an all-star game in normal years. You've got one of the more up-and-coming bigs. rim protectors, paint protectors, and then you've got a guy with just crazy upside in Ace Bailey. But at the same time, you've been able to build a nucleus of guys who can fit in behind. And Isaiah Collier, who just changes the game, and he did it again. Last night, played 48 minutes, had 22 assists. So I guess my point in the long-winded answer is there's been so many things going on over the last 4 years, and so many of them good. But human nature is to focus on the dust on the floor. And that part has been interesting to me because there are people that are so myopic and so against this whole thing that they just will not even acknowledge the positive. And I think it's been important through the process, especially for Will Hardy, to keep his sanity. You've got to focus on the development and the positives. And so that has been a fun journey. I'm glad it's over, and I'm glad we've got a couple of months looking down the pipe here. But next year the Jazz will play meaningful basketball. They'll play playoff basketball. We'll be sitting out there. And, if all things come together, depending on how the year ends and what pick they add, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, nor does ChatGPT, who I had a major discussion with yesterday.
Do we need a drum roll right now, Tim?
The Jazz jumped to possibly, the slot that they put them in, all things being equal and not knowing exactly what other moves are going to be made, but somewhere in the 4 to 6 range in the West.
Oh, Tim LaComb.
That's ChatGPT, but I told you guys all along, I think without Jaren last year, I've been telling you how many were they going to win, PK?
45. That's what I was going to ask you. Did you now underestimate? Although you anticipated moves, obviously, because everybody makes moves. You didn't know what specifics. Right.
Not that one.
But here it is.
That one. This one is the biggest Jazz move since, and probably akin to what Hornacek was at the time.
That's what I was saying.
You've been listening to the show.
No, I haven't. I know. I actually just flipped over, but I will say, you guys, great minds think alike.
I did say, and I can't go back into the 80s off the top of my head like I can since I moved here in the 90s, and the impact that Hornacek had was undeniable. It was obvious. We all saw it. And so, they've acquired guys through draft and free agency, but as far as a trade, I thought it hasn't, it's been done, it's confirmed, but he hasn't played a game. But I'm expecting it to have the most impact and be the most impactful trade since Hornacek.
Yeah. Well, we're on the same page with that one then.
How many more of those can we get? Are there more Hornacek trades? Is there an ability to do that with 7 more first-round draft picks? Is 7 too many?
No, I think it's and that's one other thing I was going to say. When the Jazz made the move, finally and decided to move Donovan and Rudy and kind of enter this phase, they were down 4 first-round draft picks. So you get 1 every year, right? For you, the Jazz had traded and were negative or net -4, I believe, at the time. So the Jazz have done all this in a 4-year span. And they just use the cap space. But I think if you look at free agency over the next 2 years, there's nobody that could get like this. So money well spent. And then secondly, they are actually from -4, they're actually +4. So in all this, they didn't give up anything, any of their first-round picks. They used other people's picks and other people's capital. It's really been a masterclass in how to do this. And it's taken longer, but there's no guarantees on timing. You got to be patient. You got to wait for a team like Memphis to implode and then go take their guy.
Before we let you go, Tim LaComb joining us, we have no idea where they're going to end up drafting, right? But does it change your thought process on who they should draft with this trade? Meaning, they've got a tall front line and all that stuff, and do they need more help in the backcourt now? It's say they win the lottery. That'd be awesome, right? And would you be more inclined to go with somebody like a Peterson, who's a little more perimeter player, as opposed to a Boozer, who's more of an inside player, or a slasher? They've got slashers now. I'm just wondering your thoughts on what do you think would happen when we get to the draft, how this trade, if at all, affects it.
Well, I think, if they were fortunate enough to get a number one pick, I think they have their mindset, they're doing their work right now on what that would look like.
Right.
I still believe you'd probably take the best possible player.
Sure. That's the philosophy. Yeah.
And I think it's either AJ or Darren. I'm leaning, I've been an AJ guy most of the year, but, the uncertainty of Darren's schedule and when he plays and when he doesn't, like how he played the first half against BYU, didn't play the second half. That stuff is a little scary to me, but at the same time, you could have said the same thing about Ace Bailey last year and his representation. So sometimes when you get the kid away from their people, they become normal. So there's a lot to uncover there. But bottom line, I think you just take, you take a guy that will complement what you're doing. And this seems to be, Keontae's 6'4", Ace 6'8", 7'1" wingspan. Walker 7'7", 6" wingspan. Jaren Jackson 6'10", 7'4" wingspan. Lowry Markkinen 6'10", 7-foot wingspan. You are huge. You are huge, and
Thank
you're
you.
skilled. Oh. So I've been waiting for that my whole life.
Walked into that one, Tim. You walked into it.
Like into the corner of the wall.
You put it on a tee.
And he does what he does when the ball's on the tee. He strikes.
You need to be careful.
Okay. DJ, where's DJ to take control of this thing? That's where he usually goes, DJ, PK, thanks, Timberlake. the old hook segue.
Tim, we sure appreciate your time, and we will talk to you soon, okay?
Hey, love you guys. Thanks.
All right, that's Tim LaComb. Okay, I told you earlier that about Win Tickets Wednesday. Well, now is the time. Yes, it literally is Win Tickets Wednesday. Caller 12 at 801-575-ZONE. 801-575-ZONE will win a pair of tickets to see Brian Regan at the Delta Center on Saturday, February 14th. Caller 12, call right now, 801-575-ZONE. Pair of tickets to Brian Regan at the Delta Center on Valentine's Day, Saturday, February 14th. Okay, coming up, we're going to get into the psychological aspect of why the Cougars play two different games every time they play. Stay with us right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is JJ and Alex. I got this.
I'm starting to buy into the young group showing progress, slowly but surely, churning its way up the tracks to a superstardom maybe in the future.
How about Ace Bailey's last 10 games? You want to see the numbers? 15 points per game, 4.4 rebounds. He's shooting 34% from three. As a rookie, I'll take that. Yeah. It's going to get better. I talked to Will Hardy, and he talked about what they're doing is trying to get Ace to do a lot of the other things because they know he's an offensive juggernaut. They're working on a lot of other things, and maybe that plus some games he's missed kept him out of the Rising Stars, which how do you not have Ace Bailey in that game? Have you not seen the dunks? Have you not seen the production? Why do you not put Ace Bailey in that Rising Stars? It's a stars competition. These are the best players. So when you have a Rising Stars, your best young players need to be in that game. It's a joke. He's phenomenal.
Catch JJ and Alex afternoons from 3 to 7 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The Mr. Mac Utah County High School Players of the Week honor the top boys and girls prep basketball players each week during the high school basketball season. Our winners this week were Sage Yenchik from Provo High School and Crew Fotheringham from Lone Peak High School. Yenchik tallied 17 points and 6 assists in a win at Orem, and then added 18 points, 10 assists, and 6 steals in a win over Timpanogos. Fotheringham paced the Knights last week with 24 points in a win at Syracuse and 21 points in the road win at Corner Canyon in region play. The Utah County High School Player of the Week award is proudly presented by Mr. Mac. No one buys, no one sells, no one cares the way they do. Absolutely no one.
Okay, man. Hey, Riley Jensen's sitting in. He's a mental performance coach. He can help you if you have a business that needs some help in that area. What's your website and all that stuff?
So www.rjpg.net. It's Riley Jensen Performance Group. And we love what we do. We help. Obviously, I work with athletes from 9 all the way up to a 52-year-old rodeo professional that I work with.
Nice.
But we also, I think people don't understand that we also help businesses.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah.
We help sales professionals with work-life balance, with dealing with the stress and the pressure of work, and helping people to be able to hit their goals.
Yeah. Real quick, the Cougars, they have been one team one half and the other team the next half. Obviously, the first halves have not gone well, and the second halves have gone great. If they came to you and said, hey, what can you do from a mental performance perspective to help us be better in the first half and not get down by 20 all the time, what would you tell them?
So there's an interesting I think that mental performance is layered to the group, the social part of it, and then also the individual part of it. What I'm noticing is there's a few different individuals who aren't getting off to fast starts. So I'll just give you an example real quick here. When you play good golf, what would you say your optimal performance stress number is? So if you really want to win when you're playing golf, and you look back on the times where you played good golf, one being like I play best when it's like a Sunday walk in the park, or a 10 being I want to headbutt Riley and trip him right now, I'm so stressed out. What would you say your number is to play good golf?
And lower would be better?
No, it's up to you, because some people's higher, some people's lower. It just depends on when you look back on your...
When I'm rested and I have a free mind.
Okay, and so what number would you put on that?
Well, if 10 being the top, then I want it at least an 8.5, 9, because the mental aspect is so important. I told you.
Okay, I'm asking the question wrong. What I'm saying is your stress level going into the tournament, your optimal performance level is what number? So like when I play, I'll give you an example. When I played football, I wanted to be at a 4. I didn't want to be too high. I didn't want to be too low that I didn't care. I didn't want to be so high like some of the defensive linemen that were listening to Pantera and butting their heads against each other.
Yeah,
right?
I wanted it at a 1.
You wanted it at a 1.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I think college athletes, and this is something I work with them a lot, don't know is that there's a way to manipulate that number before you start. So if you walk into the stadium, and let's say that I'm a 6 when I walk in and I need to be a 4, I can manipulate it with breathing techniques. I can manipulate it with music. I can manipulate it with comedy to actually bring me down to a 4. Rather than doing what I did in college, which was just come in and listen to some hardcore rap or a Rocky montage music, and I'm moving myself from a 6 to an 8 or a 9 instead of moving myself back to a 4, and you can get yourself to start quicker that way. Uh-huh. And I don't think a lot of people look into the fact that, like, I think most people walk into a sporting event and they're just like, oh, I'm at a 6. I'm just going to deal with it. This is what I'll do. Right?
Yeah.
But you can plan to work that out. And if you get a bunch of individuals that are focused on that, they'll usually start faster together. And then that social aspect will now influence the way things go. Yeah. And I think there's a couple of players that I feel like are out of balance at the first of a game, and it takes them a minute to get going.
All right, there's some of Riley Jensen's expertise. Check him out. What's that website one more time?
rjpg.net.
All right, we're talking Super Bowl. We're going to Seattle next. Stay with us. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. RGS Exteriors joins Scotty G Thursday from noon to 3 at RGS Exteriors at 4235 Farm Road in West Jordan. All right, DJ's out today. Riley Jensen sitting in. Joining us now, Seattle Seahawks #1 fan. You remember him. He is the big man, Ian Furness. Ian, good morning.
What's going on, man? How are you? Look at you leading the show and everything, man. Look how far we've come over the years.
Over the years, that is for sure. That prepositional phrase is the key to our show, over the years.
has to be the longest running morning show in America, isn't it? My goodness.
Gotta be.
It has to be.
With no end in sight.
No. Despite everyone's wishes, it still continues to trudge on. So
I know. DJ is off today.
Voice, PK. Good. Yeah, I hear you taking some time. I mean, you know, why work this week? It's not much going on. Jazz trade, Super Bowl week. I mean, it makes sense.
I don't think it's vacation. I think it's some other stuff that he's got going.
Okay. All right. Well, good to hear your voice, PK. Good to hear your voice.
So we've got the Super Bowl, Seattle Seahawks back in it. Improbable, I think it's fair to say. And when Sam Darnold came aboard, what were your expectations for this team and for Sam?
Well, I truly thought that. I mean, they were coming off a 10-win season last year.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, it's not like they were rebuilding.
That's why I said somewhat improbable.
Yeah, because I mean, the Patriots I think were more of that. Although, you know, the way the NFL works, there's an East Coast centric, you know, view of things sometimes that kind of bleeds into California with the 49ers and the Rams, and you know, but I you know, I'll be honest with you, and we probably talked about this last year. At the end, I was not a big Geno fan. I thought there were a lot of red flags with him in the final year, 2 years, really, in terms of his, you know, how he played, how he handled himself, kind of his priorities. He was a Pete guy. He was never a Mike McDonald guy. You know, what Darnold did, if you take the 2 games out the final year in Minnesota, the final regular season game and the playoff game was remarkable. And, you know, guys I talked to around the league were, you know, in specifically in San Francisco, Minnesota, and even Carolina, were all like, hey, this dude's got something. You know, like there's something. There's a reason he was drafted where he was. A lot of good players go to the New York Jets and aren't very good after that because of the New York Jets. And so I expected, I think we talked about at the start of the year, we've all been kind of looking back on what our things were. I saw maybe an 11-win team, you know, 12 tops. But, you know, they've surpassed that. So, yeah, I thought the Rams would be the best team in the division or the 49ers, but Seattle would be right there. I didn't see a division championship or a Super Bowl. So they've exceeded slightly my expectations, and I think a lot of folks.
Obviously, from the outside in, at least to me as a football guy, I mean, it really looks like Seattle with their defense, with the way Sam Darnold's playing, with the receivers that they have. I mean, I feel like they're going to win this Super Bowl, but when you're looking at it from your perspective, what worries you about the New England Patriots? What is it that's gotten them this far, and what is it that could be the Achilles heel for Seattle?
Yeah, Riley, I think that, you know, like if you just look at just kind of the two teams and the general matchup, Seattle, you're hard-pressed to find a place where Seattle, position group-wise or what have you, isn't better. Maybe the interior of the defensive line, people are saying that a lot this week, but I don't know. I think, you know, the way Byron Murphy and Leonard Williams have played, I think that might be a stretch as well. You know, Drake May's legs can be a problem. There's no doubt about that. And, you know, at the end of the day, these two teams were basically top 5, top 3 in most of the basic, you know, categories, offense and defense. I mean, in terms of total offense, Seattle was 8th, New England was 3rd. In terms of points per game, Seattle was 3rd, the Patriots were 2nd. Total defense, Patriots 8th, Seattle 6th, but points allowed per game, Seattle was the best defense in terms of scoring defense in the NFL. Patriots not far behind at 4. So it's just kind of these two teams that are very even, at least in terms of some of those numbers. So, you know, at that point, anything can happen. I do think that, you know, Seattle's better at the skill positions overall. They've got, I mean, Jackson Smith and Jigba has a chance to win the offensive MVP tonight or tomorrow night, I guess it is. You know, and what Rashid Shaheed has brought to the team in terms of speed on the outside, much less his special teams. A.J. Barner's been a revelation at tight end. Playoff Cooper Kupp is a different animal, by the way, than regular season Cooper Kupp. Like, he's a different guy. So, you know, what he does in terms of the pass game, first down catches, getting that extra yard, his run blocking is really elite, like just crazy elite. You know, but I think if I was to worry about something, it's the Super Bowl and it's this team. And, you know, I was there in Arizona when some weird things happened. So who knows? And I guess the other thing would be just the general thing. When we went back and covered the Super Bowl 48 in New Jersey, if you guys remember, that was Peyton Manning, highest scoring offense in the history of the NFL, all that stuff. No one was giving the Seahawks and that Legion of Boom defense a chance. It was like, boy, they're gonna smoke them, and it was the opposite. Seattle ran them out of the building. So stuff does happen. There's not a lot of back and forth where you can kind of, really kind of do a side-by-side comparison. I will say this. New England's schedule in the regular season was pretty soft, pretty weak in the way the NFL works it out, right? It's if you have the worse record you have, the easier your schedule is going to be, and some of the crossover games that aren't, divisional. So New England had a little softer schedule and got their way through it. But I think Seattle will win, but I think it's going to be closer than people think.
You speak of Sam Darnold, the Jets, but he was also with the Panthers and Niners, and I guess maybe he needed some opportunity to shake off the negative rust from the Jets. And he had the decent season last year for sure, and signs there. He played at San Clemente High down there in San Clemente, California. Now, that's a quarterback factory. You'll never guess who their starting quarterback at San Clemente High is right now.
I know who it is.
You'll never guess, Ian.
I won't even try it. Who is it?
What year did you leave here?
2002. End of 2002. So
okay,
November
so that
2002.
was John Beck was just getting started. I'm sure you remember him at BYU, right?
Yep.
His son is the starting quarterback at San Clemente High School.
That's just fantastic. Thanks for making me feel older. Wow.
Keep your eye on him.
No, I keep up with all that stuff. Listen, PK, me and BYU fans, we're tight. We're still thick as thieves, man.
That's
I'm
weird.
still keeping track of what's going on.
PK's really close with them too.
Well, I am one because I'm one.
I know. Yeah, I was always welcome down in Provo. They love me down there.
We're
so
talking
I
to
might
a
come
couple
back
of
and
Cougars
visit.
here. One from Washington State, one from BYU.
Yeah, Riley. They don't. For some reason, I don't know why I didn't quite mesh with those guys as well as the guys in the red. But man, that makes me feel really old. Thanks, PK. I appreciate that.
A little bit. Actually, that area has produced so many high school really good quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Just that whole Southern California area, and particularly that area too, down there in that Southern Orange County area.
Like Sam kind of comes from that factory down there, and then goes to USC, right? And ends up finally kind of taking the job from Max Brown, who is a 5-star as well, and he's from up here in our neck of the woods,
right.
But. You mentioned Carolina and San Francisco. A lot of the credit for his success goes to his time as year in San Francisco with Kyle Shanahan, and I think that's really where, which is Kyle Shanahan. You're like, damn, man, I wish that didn't happen. But backing up Brock Purdy and learning the Shanahan system, having a guy that ran a similar system this year and his offensive coordinator Clinton Kubiak, that's what happened. He got better. And listen. It didn't end well for Geno in Seattle, and certainly last year with the Raiders was a disaster. But I think you can just look at guys that go to the Jets and they're just awful, and then they go someplace else, with the exception of the quarterback from BYU, that end up being better. But Kyle Shanahan and that year in Santa Clara, where they'll play this Sunday, was probably a huge reason why the Seahawks and Sam Darnold are where they are right now.
Does he have an attitude as far as I'm just wondering, a chip on his shoulder, still feel like he has to prove something?
No.
And what's his makeup, just his personal makeup?
If he does, he internalizes it well. I'll say that. He's probably the most easygoing quarterback, guy I've been around in that position. And, I've been here since 2006 covering this team, and I don't remember anybody like this. We went back and we replayed the day he signed. We had him on the show, and I went back and I replayed that last week just to kind of take a listen to it again. And this guy is just like down to earth, humble, keeps on an even keel. You'll watch him on Sunday. I mean, listen, we know he'll throw an interception. It happens. That's kind of part of his makeup. He's been good in the postseason, but he doesn't get rattled, and he doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. And it's really kind of one of the remarkable things about watching him. And it resonates with his teammates. I mean, Riley, you can relate to this. It resonates in the locker room. And this guy is so massively popular in that room. And for a team that went through the waning years of selfish Russ, and then I would say the same with Geno for the last year and a half, it's a welcome change. And I think if you want to look at one of the intangibles for this team and where they are today, it's the belief in Sam. I mean, Ernest Jones, their middle linebacker, and we all know defense doesn't always get along with the offense. It certainly wasn't the case with the old Super Bowl teams in Seattle. That was oil and water. But Ernest Jones got up and had a passionate, expletive-laden, diatribe about how, great Sam Darnold is. And anybody who wants to argue might as well walk up to the podium right there and take him on, because these guys back him up, man. It's really amazing, and I think it's one of the cool stories of this team, how close they are, how tight-knit they are. And I think that comes from their belief and their love for Sam.
Well, I through the quarterback circles that I'm in, that's exactly the same thing that I've heard. Just how down to earth he is, how authentic he is as a person. I wanted to shift gears just a little bit, and you mentioned a little bit of the East Coast, not bias, but it's East Coast centric for the NFL, right? And we don't hear as much about Mike Macdonald. And what is it that Mike Macdonald brings to this team that's different from past coaches that have won Super Bowls and different than, the history of the Seattle Seahawks that maybe we don't even notice in Utah because we do hear so much about the teams back east?
I would put him in the category. I'm just trying. You know what? If I'm just kind of in terms of personality, I'd almost put him in the Kyle Whittingham world. And I'm not. Listen, that is not a dig, because I know there's probably some fresh wounds there with him going to Michigan. But I just, a guy that's a defensive dude that kind of oozes defensive attitude, but is somewhat, not demonstrative, quiet. The one thing with Mike is, when he got hired, we're talking to guys back in Baltimore that, dealt with him when he was a coordinator back there. And they're like, yeah, don't get too excited, man. His interviews are going to be boring. He's got no personality. I'm not sure if he can communicate with guys and all that stuff. We all knew he was kind of a defensive guru, genius in a sense. And I'll get to that in a second, talking to players. But his personality's really blossomed. He's not Pete. Pete's one of a kind in terms of rah-rah, up and down, here we go, day before, win forever, blah, all that stuff. And that worked for Pete, and it worked for a while here. Holmgren was this massive human being that is we love Mike. Mike's on our radio station. He's part of our radio. We have him on the show. In fact, he's on my show later today. And I love Mike. Mike is a quarterback guru, but an imposing figure. And, you have to be to deal with Brett Favre all those years. Mike's cut from a different cloth. New school, uses new numbers, but the players, man, they bought into this. And Riley, I'll give you this. This is an example of the buy-in for Mike Macdonald. The Seahawks this season during OTAs, minicamp is mandatory. We kind of get them all confused. They blend together. But the off-season workouts after the draft in May and June. There's like 3 days that are mandatory minicamp, but everything else, the OTAs, those are all voluntary. Now, voluntary means if you're a young guy or undrafted free agent, you're there. Also means if you're a veteran, you're probably there every now and then. You're getting your work in, but you're not there. They had 100% participation every OTA this year. And that was different from year one. And year one, they didn't. Well, I think the guys that weren't 100% weren't here in year two. They found that out. And guys like Jaren Reed, who's like the sole connection to the Legion of Boom, he kind of is the alpha dog in that room. And he made sure like everyone's here. And everyone said, guys were talking about, yeah, we're buying into Mike Macdonald, man. We buy into what this guy's doing. And so it's pretty awesome to see that kind of buy-in. I think that just speaks to who he is. As far as the defense is concerned, I'll be the first to tell you, I'm not going to pretend to be all 22 media guy that is breaking down tape, because that's not what I don't know that. I can just tell you what players tell me. And the guys I've talked to, I have Jaren Reed on the show quite a bit. This guy's defense, it's based on a lot of communication. It's very complex. There's a lot of changes and check with me at the line, very much like an offense. And it took 2/3 of the year last year for them to kind of get going and figure it out. But once they got it going and once they got it humming and once he figured out what to do, and then they picked up a guy, Neiman Worry, that fits perfect with his scheme, boom, just like that, it's the number one scoring defense in the NFL. So elite defensive coach, a guy that's able to get the entire room to buy in to the plan and what they're doing. And then they had a great offensive coordinator who's now going to be head coach next year with the Raiders and Kubiak. It all kind of came together.
You mentioned the Legion of Boom a couple of times. Now, that was noted defense, the cool nickname, big personalities. How does this compare to that?
They're different in the sense that defense was filled with, future Hall of Famers. Bobby Wagner, well, I guess I dare say, first ballot anymore because we know how messed up the Hall of Fame is this particular year. But Bobby Wagner is a first ballot Hall of Famer based on the number of first-team All-Pros he's had. There's only two middle linebackers in the history of the sport named Singletary and Butkus that have done more within him. So Bobby Wagner's a Hall of Famer. Richard Sherman will be a Hall of Famer. Earl Thomas, debatable Hall of Famer. And then you had other guys on that defense like Cam Chancellor, Michael Bennett, Cliff Averill, that were all perennial Pro Bowlers, not necessarily Pro Bowlers like Shedeur Sanders, actual legitimate Pro Bowlers. It was chalk.
Shadeur's not legitimate?
Nice shot.
Yeah, not in any way, shape, or form. But those guys were all stars, and and they were all super. And then they filled it in with some other guys. This team's more a sum of its parts. Eamon Worry has been a revelation. Probably should have been the NFL Defensive Player of the Year. People try to compare him to Cam because he's a big safety. He's just different. He's a better cover guy than Cam. Not quite as physical. Nobody's as physical as Cam was, but he's close. But they use him in a different way. He's in the box. He's up in the line of scrimmage, but he can cover guys as well in the slot. He's kind of the missing piece that helped them. Byron Murphy, the defensive tackle from Texas, in his second year just blossomed. Leonard Williams looks like he's 25 again. Finally got recognition award-wise by the NFL this season. But they don't have – here's the funny thing. That team that won it, they had two guys in Averill and Bennett that were technically backups, but, just because Chris Clemens and Red Bryant started. But those two guys were double-digit sacks guys, like 10, 11 sacks a year. Which in today's NFL isn't great. Like, it's good. You want to, but it's 20 total. You live with that. That's you're really good from the defensive end. This team's top sack guys had 7 sacks, so they do it. But they had 47 as a team, so they do it by committee, and they do it from everywhere. So they're just different. It's not as star laden as the Legion of Boom, but the results are the same. I mean, the Legion of Boom had that long stretch where they were the number one scoring defense in the NFL. For 4 or 5 years in a row, and this team just did it this year, and probably no reason to think they won't do it the next couple of years as well. So they're different. Personalities are different. They're not as boisterous. They're not as over the top. Right. They don't have defensive backs that are yelling at the quarterback in practice and chirping him the whole time. It's a little bit different attitude, but they're different. But they're really, really a good defense. I mean, they are a really good defense. And if you haven't watched them play, check them out on Sunday because I think they're going to give Drake May some issues along the way.
I do too. I think Seattle is going to get another Super Bowl winner. I suppose it's the sports gods making up for the Sonics leaving, huh? Maybe that's it.
I don't know, buddy. That doesn't make. I mean, listen. Like we're on 18 years. We think it's going to be 20 before they come back because it's a nice round number. The NBA is that's how they work. They're stupid and petty, but. Hey, can I ask you? I got to ask you guys a question because my son, who was born in Sandy, Utah, Altaview Hospital.
Sure,
and by the way, PK, you remember him when he was an infant? He just graduated from college.
Nice. Way to make me feel old, Ian.
Yeah, I want to make you feel old too. He just graduated. He's played college football, small college football, won a championship. He's going to be a firefighter, but nice. He's a huge Utah Jazz.
I remember that. I actually remember that.
You saw him a few years ago when he was a little guy. He wants to know who won the trade. He thinks long-term Utah. He likes it, but he wants to know who won the trade. I need to pass that along to him.
Well, I mean, I always go by who gets the best player, and of all the players, there were 8 of them. I think that Jaren Jackson Jr. is the best player, that's for sure. The 3 picks, man, they've got plenty of picks. So even if those picks blossom for Memphis or Memphis trades them to get other assets, good on them. You never know what's going to happen. They had cap space, but where are they going to get a player of that caliber? Free agents of his caliber don't really move that much. I don't know that it would have been impossible. Utah still has, I think, the reputation, I think that's chilled. It's not as bad as it once was. I think people have gotten over that and realized with guys like Carlos Boozer and Darren Williams out there saying this is a good place. You'll be fine here. I think that has been basically put to bed to a good extent. It's not South Beach and whatever. We understand that. But I think that they did what they needed to do to make themselves competitive. 4 years of tanking on a proud franchise with a proud fan base that's used to winning was long enough. And now they put themselves in it. Now they don't want Jaren Jackson to play because they got to get that pick. It's top 8 protected or else it goes to OKC. And if the lottery balls fall their way, hopefully they do, they've got a chance to really take a large jump next season and be competitive for a few years to come because their guys are young. So right now we're optimistic. We'll see what happens.
All right, I'll pass that along. We got to get down to a game again. It's been a few years since we've been down there, so maybe. Do you know the guy Ryan Smith? Do you know him, PK? Can you see if you can get me some tickets?
You can. Yeah, I've heard of him. He's been on our show a number of times. He's very media friendly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just check. Say, listen. The guy that used to fill in on your post-game shows when the late great Steve Klauke was doing baseball, like in the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
Let him know that I'd love to come down. Maybe I'm a poor media guy. I only have 2 jobs, so I need to get down there.
Well, let us know. We can set you up for sure. You just got to listen to DJ's stories. So thanks for coming on, Ian.
Oh God, Riley, good talking to you, buddy. Take care. You guys do a great job. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.
All right, that's Ian Furness. The Super Bowl, Seattle Seahawks are in it, and I would expect them to win, but we'll be watching Sunday, and we'll see what happens. Get you caught up on what we're talking about today, and I guess you can guess what it is for sure. Stay with us, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
I think they're in a pinch with Walker, to be honest.
I think you sign him, whatever offer he gets. I think you probably actually just give him a good offer because the Jazz can negotiate with him even before any other team can. Now, maybe he just wants to wait and see how much money he can get. I do think that's dangerous because teams are actually going to be scared off once they recognize, the Jazz are going to match any offer. Why would I tie money up?
Yeah, I've said that before, but yet I've seen it happen a bunch of times. The Jazz had to give up on Wes Matthews, a really talented guy that they loved, because Portland screwed him with a restricted free agent deal. And they gave Paul Millsap way more than they wanted to because Portland screwed him with the restricted free agent deal. And then with Gordon Hayward, when that happened, he was getting a max contract no matter what.
Yeah, he was.
And so what was the point of that other than just ticking off the player?
Catch Jake and Ben weekdays from 10 to noon on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Slacker radio headlines are brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan Wealth today, your local trusted financial fiduciary. Call them at 801-210-6800 or visit their website at trajanwealth.com. Also got to tell you, this week the world is watching, and you could be watching on your brand new 75-inch smart TV. A big TV, yuck! The KSL Sports Zone wants you front and center for every unforgettable moment. Enter to win a 75-inch TV at kslsports.com/contest. How about that? A 75-inch TV. And for additional entries, listen this week for keywords to be announced in each show. The more entries you have, the better your chance to win. Our keyword today is hockey. Hockey is the keyword today. Listen all day for more keywords and enter to win at kslsports.com/contest. The countdown is on. The opening ceremony is Friday. The big game is Sunday with pregame coverage starting at 11 a.m. Watch it all on KSL 5 TV. All right.
I got a big TV.
There it is, the man, a big TV. I wonder if he's TV shopping today for the big game in the Olympics. 200 inches. Do I hear 300? We'll be back on Friday. So with that in mind, catching you up to date, well, the big story is Jaren Jackson Jr., JJJ. I'm a junior.
Are you really?
I am. Yes.
Patrick Moynihan Kinahan Jr.
I have a J in my middle name. Joseph. Yes, but I'm named after my father, who was Patrick Joseph Kinahan Sr., and I am Junior. So I don't use the junior too much, but I am.
a junior. So there you go. The big story is Jackson.
When I had a son, like, I mean, would we think maybe Riley? It's like, no, not even, no. No. Why would we do that? I was like, I don't know.
What a burden. Yeah.
I didn't mean to make you mad. I was just wondering if maybe that was on the list.
I have two sisters, and my one sister's named Patty.
You got Patty and Patrick?
We had two Patricks and a Patty. Yes.
Love it.
Fortunately, there was not much overlap. She was out of the house by the time I was 8 or 9 because she's older. So when people would call, I didn't get many phone calls at the end, but if you asked for Pat in our household, we had to check who it was.
Which one?
Pretty much everybody called him Pat and me Patrick, and then by the time I was 14, my friends all called me by my initials.
They didn't call you Patty?
No. Oh, no. My mother made sure that wasn't going to happen. In the Italian custom, they like to do, my uncle, I have an Uncle Teddy, and he named his boy Teddy, and they called him Teddy Boy. And when
we're going to call you Patty Boy?
My mother was not going to allow it.
No.
She told me. She put an end to that. She comes from a massive 10-children Italian family with thousands of cousins and whatnot. And so, yeah, I found out later, she told that's not going to work.
My wife and her family's all from back east. Mm-hmm. And her dad's Greek, half Italian. His name's George. You know what my wife's name is?
I do.
Georgianne. Yeah. I'm like, wow, the creativity.
Good thing it wasn't Jeremiah or something.
Right.
It would have been harder. So there you go. Jaren Jackson, you've come around. You're a little skeptical. You thought it was a bad move earlier in the show. Have you come around?
See, this is what you do to me.
Well,
this is
I
what
know
you
what
do.
you were talking about during during the breaks.
Typical,
You're a lifelong Utah Jazz fan. You were down on this trade when you first heard about it.
I was curious.
Okay, what were you curious about then?
I mean, I feel like you're telling me this is as good as the Hornacek trade, and that's a big trade. Like, that's gigantic. That's huge. I should be a little more excited than I am.
Okay, there you go. That's skeptical. You basically said the same thing.
No,
Yes!
I'm just saying the expectation that you're putting on this is a little higher than what I have.
Yuck, are we not saying the same thing here? Wasn't that his form of skepticism?
Yeah, I love it.
Jake, we all know you're scared of Patrick. Stop. Stop
not
flinching
anymore.
and saying, don't hit me after you're off the mic.
12, how long have you been doing this? 10, 11, 12 years?
Jake's like, yes, don't hit me.
No, I'm with PK on this one.
You had more skepticism than I have. That's
no,
okay.
you're not, Jake. You're scared. You don't even know it. Intrinsically, you don't even know that you're scared of him.
You tell me I've been brainwashed? Is that what we're going? Okay.
What am I, some
No, this is Stockholm Syndrome. You're in love with your captor.
Am I an intimidating character over here?
Yeah.
You can be that. I will give you that.
You are.
How can I be intimidating?
You are
just
in
ask
love
anybody.
with your captor. You're in love with your captor.
Come on.
This is gross.
I'm not.
This is psychologically disturbing.
Jake. It's a mutual love.
I know, but you also beat him.
I do not beat him. I counsel him.
You
I try to help
browbeat him
where I can.
You
That's
browbeat him.
I am an excellent
He doesn't dare say
I'm
no
an
to you.
excellent teammate. People, I'm easy
And
to get along with.
After a while, Jake hasn't been able to think that anything else would be acceptable in his life.
That's not true at all. He's free to voice.
He owes it all to you.
He's free
He looks
to
up
voice
to
his
you.
opinion and
He
be wrong
doesn't-
if he wants to.
He doesn't change. He doesn't go against the grain with you. He would never say that I was right.
I am not that intimidating. That's just not true. You were more skeptical than I was. That's what I said.
No, you called me a skeptic. You said I was really mad about the trade and not happy.
I said you weren't sure.
I don't even know what I felt. I just don't feel like it's a Jeff Hornacek trade. I feel like, okay,
Well,
let's
yeah,
see.
Hornacek comes in with 2 first-ballot Hall of Famers, too. We don't have that here.
You don't think Keontae George and Lauri Markkanen are first ballot Hall of Famers?
No. Maybe they'll develop it. But
listen to the skeptic talk.
Hornacek came in when they were literally already first team, first ballot. They were first team all whackers. That's a fact.
Why?
What are you, Nancy Kerrigan over here?
No, I just
first team all whacker.
I just knew I can't escape this.
You'll never. If you doing a show here, you're never going to escape it.
How did that not get lost over the years? I mean, we've changed buildings like 5 times.
I know.
We've changed organizations twice.
3 times.
3 times.
whacker.
And it's still here.
You'd have to ask him. I don't know how that works.
Typical, Stockholm syndrome to come and beat me. I feel like I'm in kindergarten again. If you do that again, Riley, Jake's going to hit you.
The statues were first team all whackers when Hornacek came aboard.
George Carl.
It's
Kobe Carl. Bless his heart.
One of the
was a first team all whack performer.
He's a first team all whacker.
Come on! Stop playing it. They think I'm saying it live.
He's a first team all whacker.
You don't play it enough now that I think about it.
I'm surprised you haven't made it like my intro song.
My top 3 are first team all whacker. You don't sound like a Debbie, and I'm in San Bernardino.
Well, and there's another one about Dallas somewhere.
But that didn't get saved.
Oh, that's not saved.
No.
The other ones are saved.
Yeah.
Essentially everything else is there except that one.
Yeah.
I actually had a real experience with almost the exact same thing with Gordon Monson. Where I'm like, hey, where you at? How you feeling? Like in one of my sessions. And they're like, well, I'm just here in California. I was like,
San Bernardino.
I was like, oh, jeez. And it was, how
you hanging on? Where are you?
I'm in San Bernardino right now.
I had to start laughing in the middle of my session because this person even said, I'm in California. And I'm like, no, I literally started laughing. I was like, he's like, what's so funny? I'm like, no.
They won't understand.
They wouldn't have understood.
Jaren Jackson's coming aboard, man. I talked to exchanged some texts with Austin Ainge. They're fired up, and he's busy right now. We'll see about getting him on next week, and we're excited about that to get going here. We'll have to go through 30 games this season, but then next year the winning is on, and that's sweet. We'll see what level they can win. We'll get your feedback. Stay with us right here. We'll wrap up the show, get you ready for Jake and Ben on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right, that was your Mammoth at 50 update. We will do that every day as we get towards the playoffs. Wouldn't it be cool if both teams next spring are in the playoffs?
I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah. I think that absolutely would be awesome.
We need a little excitement around here.
Especially that time of year after going 4+ years without the Jazz being in the playoffs.
Is that all it's been?
All?
No, it feels like a long time.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah. It does feel like it's been a long time. And that's what this thing signals. Hope is here, man. Before you have actuality, I think you got to have hope that you can do it, right? So we put it on Facebook. What do you think, man? Chase, love it. Next year's team will be tall and long. He's better than any player they could have picked in the draft. I'm not sure about that. I think he's better than any player they could have gotten in the league. And certainly next year he'll be better than any player in the draft because those kids coming in as teenagers.
Right.
But give him 3 or 4 years. Just look at what Deontay George is doing now. George is in his 3rd year, and he's rocking it. He's legit, man.
You think he's got it?
I do. Yeah. I'm sold on him.
Got the swagger.
I think he does. He's got the mindset.
Package.
He's got the attitude. He's got the game. Yeah, I know it's a little empty calorie-ish and scoring a bunch of points on teams that are losing, but in his mind, these are big games because he hasn't proven himself. I think he's taken a real jump, and I think it's a legitimate jump. Once the team gets better, which is going to be immediately next season, statistically may not be there to what it is now. That's where the little empty calories come in. His statistics could be less than they are right now, but the most important thing is the win total will be much higher. and that's what matters. You want guys playing well and winning situations, then they're legit. That's the definition of legitimacy.
It'd be really interesting to see.
Yeah, all right.
I'm excited.
That's the voice of Riley Jensen. We appreciate him sitting in. Coming up next is Jake and Ben. Stay with us right here, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.